Down in the dark where the Wi-Fi hums, where the screen glows soft and the daylight don't run. I'm a king of crumbs and soda stains in this hollow basement where nothing remains. But they're calling me out, calling me upstairs to the cruel world where the sun erupts. Oh, I don't want to touch the grass, I don't want to feel the sun, I don't want to shower, run. I just want to sit and be one with the steam machine. My only dream. They say I should learn how to socialize, but people talk in riddles and lies. Exercise feels like some twisted curse, a treadmill spinning my universe. But they're pulling me out, pulling me thin out of my basement dwelling. I don't want to touch the grass, I don't want to leave my basement, I don't want to meet the crowd, I just want to play. My only dream.
All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. That is the latest single from Gaming Survivor. Let's see. What was the title of that one? It was called Steam Machine Basement? Basement Steam Machine, something like that. Pretty good. Pretty good overall, gotta say. I don't know if Gaming Survivor's here right now, but we'll have to make sure to let him know when he shows up that we did play his song. Okay? Thank you, Carlos. I was surprised you could recognize it was me. But yeah, welcome back, guys. I hope everybody's doing well today. Mr. Din says, hello, my fellow gamers. What is going on? Unknown enjoyed that. Unknown definitely enjoyed that. Will, you're saying Battlefield 6 just keeps delivering so much content, challenges, modes, unlocks? Robert, what's going on, bro? Thank you for stopping by. Today we're going to be talking about Sony seemingly dominating the Game Award nominations. I don't know about you guys, but we're witnessing something unprecedented, truly. Sony somehow managed to become the most nominated publisher without having any games. I don't know how they did it. I don't know how they managed it. They're doing the impossible. Maybe more. Maybe they're on to something. Maybe more publishers need to figure out how to not release games, and then they'll get nominated. MBG, that tweet you posted was so ill-intentioned. Someone told you you're gaslighting yourself. I know, dude. It was so funny, dude. Yeah, I like. We'll talk about that. Like, I don't I feel like it's like, okay, so people looked at that tweet and they're like, you're console warring. And it's like, we're talking about games, dude, across 3 major publishers. Yes, who have a platform and have a console. But we're talking about the games. So it's like, okay, so I guess just talking about, I guess just like looking at images that convey certain facts, I guess that is now console warring, right? Like specifically with games. So just talking about the games now. People got so mad, dude. And look, I'm not saying I didn't expect it, but I will admit, like, sometimes I do find myself a little bit surprised, like, how salty people get. Like, this image should not hurt your feelings, nor should me posting it hurt your feelings. It should not evoke an emotional reaction towards me. That's the thing about it. It shouldn't evoke an emotional reaction towards me. It should evoke some kind of emotional reaction towards what you're seeing. Like, whoa, that's the whole point of posting the image. But to me, like, dude, I didn't make it that way, man. And then, so like, the only other alternative is like, well, then don't post it. Like, no, fuck you. Like, why would I not post it? It's just a picture, and it's not even like a bad picture. It's just one showing you between Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft the games that have been nominated for Game of the Year from 2014 to 2025. Like, how are you going to tell me not to post that? Because that's console warring. That's crazy, man. I forgot to put this as well. Yeah, we'll do a super chat. I'm sorry, Blund. Unfortunately, your super chat, I got too distracted, which is fine. I was just talking to the chat. I meant to put a super chat goal. So if we get to like 9 out of 10 like we did yesterday, if we go beyond it, great. If we get to 9 out of 10 again, I'll count it. But you're saying here, is Microsoft really selling garbage Halo remake for $80 US for only half the game, no multiplayer? If true, Microsoft is straight up gangster. Are they? Did that come out? Did that news come out? I mean, people were questioning if they were going to go full price for Halo. I think right now, I don't know. Like, my guess is it would be like $50, right? $50 sounds about right. But then again, we saw how aggressive Microsoft has gotten putting their games on PlayStation. They might do it. I don't think it'll be $80. That would be, dude, that would be nuts. I would love to see that. Microsoft, please charge $80 for Halo remake. Just because it's like, you know they would get crushed. They would get steamrolled and they'd have to reverse it again. But even $70, I think, for people is like, bro. If it had like the full multiplayer, that would be different. I think people would feel differently about it. But it just being a campaign, I don't know. I don't know how eager people are to pay $70 for that. Plus, you figure it's coming out in 2026. It's coming out in 2026, and some people are going to be busy, a lot of people, playing other games. And so the competition is going to be fierce. I mean, I guess it depends on when exactly it's going to drop. $40? $40 would be great. Yeah. I think it would sell really well at $40. $70, I think it might struggle. Yeah, I know, Tarnished. I know. I'm the salty one for posting that. I mean, I get it. It's like the person who said I was gaslighting myself, they're like, MBG, I don't console war, also MBG, because I posted that image. And it's like, dude, just posting these images is like, that's console warring now? Really? Like, that's console warring. Like me telling you that Microsoft only had one game in the last decade. One game. Compared to Nintendo and Sony. That's console. If any, like, get it right. You know what I mean? Get it right. That's not console warring. That's publisher warring. Get it right. That is publisher warring. And we're allowed to do that. Everybody's doing that. What is it called when Call of Duty players are fighting with Battlefield players? Yo, I need to know what's up with people picking and choosing. Like the platform wars. The platform wars, bro, like, it's still a war, man. That's how you're framing it. It's a war, is it not? A war. the publisher wars, the storefront wars. I'm just trying to gauge. I'm trying to understand, like, how are any of these wars different than the console war? Like, it all comes back down to the same fundamental idea of, like, yeah, it's billion, multi-million, multi-billion, sometimes multi-trillion-dollar companies fighting each other for, fighting over customers, fighting over, territory, so to speak, I guess, virtually. Deathloop. Yo, I know why are you saying Deathloop? That's a cursed chat right there for no reason. You'll pay $80 if we can customize the Master Chief beating Flood and Speedos. On PC you can. Not sure about PlayStation. Saying, yeah, it's Publisher Wars because Psychonauts 2 wasn't even exclusive to Xbox. Well, that's what I mean, right? Like, yeah, exactly. Like, you can't even frame it as a console war if you wanted to. Even if you wanted to. And yeah, the image I posted, it didn't have Psychonauts 2. And man, they got really upset. Now, granted, I didn't know. I'll be honest. I forgot that Psychonauts 2 was nominated that year. So I admit, like, I didn't know. However, the question needs to be asked, like, when you see that image, it's like if you add Psychonauts, if you add one game there across 11 slots, does it, like, I mean, how, realistically speaking, how much of a difference does it make? If we're being realistic about it, I think it doesn't make a difference for most people. Microsoft have a pricing problem. Indiana Jones was great, but 70 quid on PlayStation Store. I bet that put people off. What's going on with what? You think the thumbnail's funny? Nishino just standing there awkwardly. Yeah, we are going to talk about these topics today, though, guys. So Sony is dominating the Game Award nominations. Doesn't mean they're going to win, but Sony once again having a significant presence at the Game Awards in terms of nominations, alongside Claire Obscure, of course. And we're also going to talk about how apparently Sony, specifically Hideaki Nishino, the president of Sony Interactive Entertainment, wants to take on Nintendo in Japan again. Straight up. We got some interesting reporting here. Apparently, Jim Ryan didn't give a shit about the Japanese market, which is not surprising, but he did not care. And now that Nishino is in charge, he really cares. In fact, it seems like, at least the way the article framed it, the way the report framed it, it seems like they're not panicking, but there's like a real urgency where they're like, we kind of fucked up and we need to get back on it. And I find it interesting because it makes me wonder, like, how much does Sony view the Switch 2 as like competition? Like, I mean, like true, genuine competition. Jim Ryan was the drunken whiskey hound. Reason to like Nishino already. I think, yeah, people are happy to see. They're happy to see this. Zeke, you're saying, sorry, haven't been here in about 5 months, MBG. Hope your streams have been great. What's going on with Sony now? Well, I appreciate you stopping by after so much time. Right now, Sony they just did a Japan-focused state of play, which, is kind of a mixed reception. Some people liked it. Most really didn't. But I think it wasn't for most people. It was for the Japanese audience. And now they have 19 total nominations for the Game Awards, leading the way, between Ghost of Yotei, Death Stranding 2, and Helldivers 2. And now they're seemingly going to make a very serious play for Japan. But guys, we really need to talk about the more important thing here. The real news is Gabe Newell's $500 million yacht. Did you guys hear about this? I don't know. I'm seeing some weird stuff going on, bro. I'm seeing people celebrate a $500 million yacht that's not theirs. What a legend. It is comical. It is funny where it's like does nothing, still wins, buys $500 million yacht. The craziest thing about this yacht is like they were talking about all the stuff it has. It has a full basketball court. It has a whole like health center with a live-in nurse. It's got like a sick station. It's got a movie theater. I'm like, what? So it's a 10,000 T flop. Yeah, the yacht has 10,000 T flops of raw power. You're saying that earnestly, Lore Cannon. Like, I actually might believe that. You're saying it kind of seriously. I'm not detecting sarcasm here. It's a very powerful yacht. Bro is doomsday maxing. It's just funny because I saw it like pop up as a piece of news like multiple times. You know he bought it because he knows what he's about to drop. He's dropping Half-Life 3. You know he knows. He's like, I'm gonna celebrate. I'm gonna celebrate with a $500 million yacht. Who wouldn't? And Metal Gear Ray comes in. Ray, thank you so much, man.
But that was some fancy shooting.
Did that play for you guys?
You're pretty good.
Why isn't the audio working? Ray, did that soundbite go through for you? It did. Okay, I guess I just can't hear the sound bites, bro. Right, back away. It's not that time yet. Ray drops 5 membership gifts for you guys. Let's get some W's in the chat. He kicks it off. I will add that to the goal. Thank you, Ray. Appreciate your support, buddy. Calm down, boss. We hit 25, we'll feed the beast. If we hit 25, we'll give boss some treats. Try not to go too crazy with the treat. I gotta pull him back a little bit, you know. Oh, Ray, it's your birthday? Happy birthday, bro. It's Ray's birthday. And he celebrates he celebrates by giving you guys gifts. What a legend. He's a legend. Ray's a legend. Thank you, Ray. I hope you have a good birthday, man. What do I think makes console gaming more enticing than PC gaming? I think the strength of console for the longest time is the convenience factor, the plug and play factor. It's just naturally aligned towards people who don't really want to, they don't want it to be complicated to any degree. They want it to be as simple as possible. It's very streamlined. I think that's what makes the Steam machine so interesting. The beast is looking kind of obese. That rhymes. The obese beast. Boss, why are you so obese, bro? I don't know. Let's see. Is it muscle? Is it fat? Flex, boy. Flex. I don't know. He's looking pretty. Oh, I guess, I don't know. If I stretch him out like that, he doesn't look that bad. He's like, let go of me. Yeah, go back to your spot, man. See what happens when you come over here? Who the hell is Carlos with the $2 super chat saying SH2/Uncharted 4 runs amazing on Portal. 10 out of 10. Oh, yeah, Carlos, didn't you say you got one recently? Was it you that said that, I think? That's great to hear, though. I still want to get a Portal. I've been saying that for a long time. So it was you that just got it. Dude, you're coming back again? Really? Yeah, at some point I'm going to get a Portal. Eventually. It'll happen. I swear. Boss is so chunky. It's funny. I don't see it as much because I see him every... Well, I guess you guys kind of see him every day too, but it's definitely less noticeable on my end. Not only do I see him every day, but he's like around me all day. So it's hard for me to notice those changes. Boss, if we do hit 25 members and we give you treats, I'm giving you less. I have to. I got to cut back on it for your own good. Either that or I'm going to get you a treadmill. One or the other. Something tells me he's not going to run on the treadmill. The camera adds 10 pounds, bro. Digital dude, I don't know what that means. I don't want to know what that means. He just wants to be with me in case of early treats. Yeah. It's because every time somebody drops member gifts, like whether it's 1 gift or 5 or 10, like my voice goes up, I guess, in pitch, and he identifies that, and he's like, oh, it must be time. Treat time. You know, like, yeah. But you think by now he would be trained to know that, like, usually it's got to happen like 4 or 5 times. Then it's treat time. But the convenience factor of the console, I think, is what has made it appealing. But did you guys see that Strauss Zelnick, the CEO of Take-Two Interactive, who was the publisher of Grand Theft Auto 6, he said that he believes PC is going to be like the main thing going forward. Like the industry's moving more and more towards being PC centric. He said that consoles will still exist and be around, but that, PC's the main thing. What makes that so funny is like, bro, like, I hear you, but why are you developing GTA 6 just for consoles and not PC right now? It's a very strange comment on his part. Like, even if he is right, it's like that's like what you're doing with the biggest game in the universe. Maybe not the universe, we don't know, but in the world, right? In our solar system, at least. You're not developing it for PC right now, but you're sitting here telling us PC is the future. Like, I'm very confused. You're sending me mixed signals, bro. Gaming Survivor, we played your song, by the way. I played it for my intro. So just a heads up. Consoles are for normal people with well-adjusted lives. Absolutely. That should be the new tagline. I think that's the kind of marketing that Sony should start to lean into. The PS5 for the normal person, Do you like the shower? We might have a console for you. We might have a device for you. I don't know. For me, I've done some PC gaming over the years, not much. But like I think what really did it for me was like when I was a kid, maybe like 6 or 7 years old, I had my PlayStation 1, and I remember I also had a computer. My dad got a. I don't know if somebody gave it to him. I think somebody gave it to him. It was like a Windows 95 PC or something. And all right, bro, if you're gonna start acting up, and this person who gave him the PC gave him a bunch of games for it too, old games. One of the games was like a Army Men RTS game where it was like like the green and yellow or tan Army Men, but it was like an RTS, and there was like this mech game. And I don't know if the PC was a piece of shit. It probably was. I remember trying to play these games, and I was like, this is kind of cool, but I'm going to just keep playing my PS1. Like, that was me at 7, dude. Where I was like, yeah, I don't know I think I, like, realized that, like, 7 years old or 6 or 7 years old, I'm like, I don't think PC gaming's for me. I'm just going to go play on my PlayStation. And nothing's changed. Nothing's changed in those years, in all those years. Shane, you're saying I have a cute cat. Thank you. Is your life over and are miserable? We have a new PC monitor for you. That's pretty much what Sony just said. But guess what? We're bringing you happiness in the form of there's a charging dock for the DualSense built in. That is pretty cool, though. I do like that. It's a bit gimmicky, but MBG, if the biggest game in our solar system is GTA 6. Oh, yeah. MBG, if the biggest game in our solar system is GTA 6, then that means the biggest game in the solar system next to us is Bloodborne Remake, perhaps. There's no way to know. By the way, guys, do me a favor. Make sure you're taking a moment to hit that like button. We already passed 50 likes. I appreciate that. We have almost 200 people here, which is awesome to see. So take a moment, hit the like button. It lets me know you enjoy the content, and it helps with YouTube's algorithm. Let's see if we can bump that up to 100 likes. And if you want to support the channel, the content, and the community, we're completely fan-funded. I rely on you guys to be able to continue to do this and run the channel the way I do. Consider becoming a channel member. Gift memberships. We're striving for 25 member gifts. We already got 5 from Ray. If we hit 25, we'll feed Boss a couple treats, and Luna as well. Come on, chill. It's not time. Drop super chats, direct donations. These are all ways in which you can help support the channel and help me out here. So thank you to everybody who does. Really appreciate it. Shout out to the community. Never had it tarnished. I swear, more kids ask for a gaming PC than console these days. That's Sony's challenge. Yeah, no, I think that's true. I think that's true to a degree. Like, I think console's still relevant. And I don't think console will ever be irrelevant, but I think its relevance will decline. You know, it won't go all the way to like obscurity or something. But I do kind of agree that the future probably is more PC oriented in the sense that I don't really see consoles breaking through like a high ceiling of, like, for example, I don't think the PS6 next gen is going to be able to like make it to 120 million. Like, I could see it. I mean, will the PS5 is going to reach 100 million? Maybe the PS5 will reach 120 million. But I just think, like, as we go forward, regardless of how well any PlayStation console does, and even with the Switch, like, for as successful as the Switch 1 was, it's still basically hit that wall of like after 150 mil. It's like that's about it, and that's nothing to scoff at. That's huge. Okay, hold on, you're out. Bro, I am pushing polygons. You hear that? Your mother's calling you because you're starting to cause trouble. Pushing polygons comes in. He drops a single member gift for you guys. No, he comes in. He drops 5. He's like, my bad. I meant to drop 5. I accidentally dropped 1. And in total, he drops 6 member gifts for you guys. Pushing polygons, thank you so much for that, buddy. Let's get some W's in the chat. Boss is so, look at how pathetic he is. Bro, why are you this pathetic? Look at yourself, man. Look at yourself on the screen. You're supposed to be a beast. He's over here like, please, God, I need the treats. And Hellbound 1981. Hellbound's trying to help you out, boss. He's got your back. He drops another 5 membership gifts for you guys. And just like that, we're sitting at 16. So pushing polygons. Hellbound. Thank you guys so much. Let me see if this soundbite will work. I can't hear the soundbite. Hellbound also wants it. He wants a gopher. It's just really awkward for me because, like, I'm imagining them playing in my head. MBG, good times create soft cats. That's true. That's true. Boss, I don't have to make your life harder. But yeah, thank you guys for the member gifts. We are now less than 10 away. We are 9 away. And Luna, chill. Luna, chill. We'll see if we can hit that. I've Pavloved, boss. I'm sorry, boss. MBG, let's talk about that tweet. I want problems. I need problems. And Paul Ganell, he says, well, I got 5 solutions. He's like, I got 5 solutions for you, Tarnished. Although, Tarnished, you are a member. So, Paul, thank you so much for that, buddy. He comes in, he drops another 5. He wants to keep the member train going, and he brings us up to 21. So now we are less than 5 away from hitting goal number 1, which is the most desperate goal, truly, as you can see. So, Paul, thank you so much for that. I'll give you we'll give you a Nishino. Or wait, is this? No, we'll give you a Nishino.
PlayStation has been defining the gaming industry for the past 3 decades.
Bet my cat's looking for cat treats or attention. Oh, trust me, it's cat treats. It's not attention. He wants you to think it's attention. As soon as he gets those treats and he eats them, he's out. He's like, peace. I don't want to be here anymore. Yeah, he gets more than enough attention. He gets too much attention sometimes. In fact, I give him so much attention, he gets annoyed with me, especially at night. He starts not growling at me, but like whining at me, like, leave me alone. I'm like, okay. You know, in human years, Boss is like 48 years old. So he's technically older than me. Isn't that right? See, Boss, if you could just stay like this the whole time, that would be fantastic. That'd be amazing. We just need to get Corey in here, bro. I know he would want to dunk it. Spine comes in. Oh, Spine, I like your profile picture there. It looks like it's a picture of your cat. Spine out of nowhere drops another 5 member gifts for you guys. And he does it. He gets us past the goal of 25. Boss is about to be very, very happy. Does he look like he's getting excited? And then pushing polygons wants to keep it going. He drops another single gift for you. And you guys, you crushed it. So we'll bump that up to 27. And we'll see if we can hit a second goal by the time the stream's done. See if we can end up hitting 50 when it's all said and done.
Boast, do you
Sometimes
read
we go
me?
beyond that.
It's time to feed the beast.
I'm going to mess with him. I'm going to mess with Boss a little bit here. Oh, what? Oh, is it treat time? Did we hit our goal? Can you give me a big meow? You never meow, Boss. If I brought Luna over here, he'd start crying. There you go, man. The treats are right there. You just got to pull them up. He's literally looking at me like, you fucking serious? Let's see if he can do it. Will he pull the treats? Earn your treats. Earn your treats. Come on. Listen, Boss, I don't know what else to tell you. If you can't even just bring the treats up, this is getting sad. But guys, thank you so much for the member gifts, by the way. I really appreciate that. Thank you for getting us to the 25 mark. All right, he literally doesn't know what to do with himself. So I'm just going to. Oh. All right, I'm really going to mess with him right now. Luna's here too. Boss, if you can give me some kind of sound because Luna is upsetting you, I will give you the treats. All right? All right, she ran away. I'll just give him the treats. I'm cute. What more do you want? All right, here we go, man. I can't give you as many, though. That's it. That's the cutoff. Enjoy. All right, well, Boss's desperation will be satiated. Luna's right here. I don't know if you guys can see her. I'm getting the feeling, before we go back to gaming topics, Luna is getting more and more comfortable around Boss, and I think it's making him more and more uncomfortable. But at some point, I feel like she's going to just start trying to fight him for the treats. Because she's just sitting here looking like she's stalking him, getting ready to pounce. So, we'll see. We'll see. Tarnished wants me to talk about that post and that tweet I put out. It's dude, Tarnished, it's crazy. I'm not even, like, people need to understand what, I got so many replies where, like, you knew what you were doing, bro. You know what you're doing. It's like, I don't think you understand. Like, I literally didn't put this out here to get people this upset. Like, and not, it's like, I don't care. I can't do anything about it. It's like, I literally, I put the image out. I know, Tardish. It's okay. But the image I'm talking about, I'll see if it's this one right here. I posted this image on Twitter. Now, and we need to make a correction here. This is important. We have to make a correction. If we go to 2021 on the Xbox side, Psychonauts should be there. You're saying it's because of the X's? It's the X's that are upset? Why? Why would the X's upset people? It visually makes it look bad. It visually looks mean. Well, if you go to the year 2021, Psychonauts 2 should be there. So that's a correction that needs to be made. So there is one game that should be there on the Xbox side. But that's why I'm saying, like, if you insert Psychonauts 2 there, does it change? How much does it realistically change? You know? But dude, I just want to say, when I posted this on Twitter, all I said was this image speaks for itself. That's all I said. And I get it. I get it. It's like you would post that, MBG. You damn idiotic console warrior. But it's like, bro, cry. I don't know what to say. Like, just cry then. I don't know what to say. Like, in my opinion, anybody who sees this image should look at it and be like, wow. I guess Xbox does kind of suck. You know? Is that toxic? Maybe. But is it true? Wait, how would I describe that? I could bring that up.
This is the start to the MBG PlayStation Portal GoFundMe.
Oh,
It
shit.
will be on a great sale for Black Friday.
Oh, yo, Canadian Jedi. He wants to start a Canadian Jedi wants to start a GoFundMe for my PlayStation Portal. He dropped $20 through a direct donation. Canadian Jedi, thank you for that. I guess I could create a little something there. $20. It's going to be $180 for Black Friday. So we need 160 more bucks. I think we could do it. Maybe not today, but like, you know, generally speaking. Canadian Jedi, thank you so much for that, man. I'm trying to see if I can game show horn sound. So we look at the results. The Game Awards exclusive Game of the Year nominations. Oh, by the way, the amount of people that don't understand the difference between winners and nominations, or those who were nominated, is staggering. People think not like if a game gets nominated, it automatically won. No. On the PlayStation side, I don't know, man. You just look at the Xbox side. It's just bad, bro. What is that? That's such a classic, man. I haven't heard that in so long. It's going to be copyrighted. You know it is, dude. Luna, you ready? Come on. I had that prepared and ready for today. Boss, this is not for you. Go exercise right now. Well, MBG isn't stating that Xbox is bad. It's just a subjective opinion. Also, awards/nominations are all just a collection of subjective opinions. Anyone can say Xbox is good just as much as Xbox is bad. Exactly. Now, if we could just get that through people's heads, you know, I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. I'm not trying to look at them and say, "Hey, you better admit Xbox is bad." No, I'm just saying when I show you a picture like this, I don't want to hear no shit. What do I get? I get shit. But you know, that's the sad reality is like and I know I'm like dwelling on this, but it's because Tarnished is encouraging it. You know, Tarnished is throwing gasoline on the fire. But I mean, it's just like, dude, like, if the only thing you can say to me in response to an image like that is stop console warring, what you should be saying is, whoa, what's up with that? What's going on there? What are you showing me right now? Some questions should be asked. But you know, I do, like, in all seriousness, when I look at that image, though, I think it does kind of encapsulate. I don't think the Game Awards are that serious. I don't think they're, you know, again, should anybody allow a game winning, like being nominated or winning awards, determine whether or not they're interested in that game? Absolutely not. You should play whatever you want to play. You should just lean towards whatever you believe is good. But when you look at an image like that, it definitely it tells you something. Tells you something. Neutral Zone, a member for 22 months, says putting Death Stranding 2 as a Sony win, like Sony Studios made it, is so wrong. Sony just helped. This is a full Kojima game. Well, I had to put a tweet out about this as well, Neutral Zone. I had to put a post out about this. Let me see if I don't know if I'm going to be able to bring it up or not. Hold on. Give me one sec. I didn't come prepared today, in case you're wondering. It may seem like it, but it's not. Oh, literally the first... Dude, I just want it to be known. Why is national security trending? All right, hold on. I go on Twitter and it's immediately a shit show. Let me, I think I had a Twitter tab ready to go. I think it's this one. I'll move myself over a little bit. I don't know if this is going to work or not. There we go. Dude, look, I logged in on Twitter. This post from Insider Gaming is literally the first thing that I'm shown. You see what I'm telling you guys? Like, when I tell you guys Twitter is designed to just immediately trigger you. Not trigger you, but bait you. Bait is the word I'm looking for. This is what I'm talking about. This is the first thing I see, bro. And also, whoever this, I don't know who this person is under them. 90% of Sony's decisions are looking at what Nintendo does and going, we should do the same. It's been like that for decades. Do you guys agree with that? And Vlund with a super chat saying Black Ops 7 physical sales down 61%, fails to beat Battlefield 6's launch. Amazing that indie and AA games are getting award shows. AAA only has big budget. I saw that about Black Ops 7. I'm not even a little bit surprised, dude. I think Battlefield 6 ate Call of Duty's lunch and dinner this year. It'll still do well. Like, you know, in like generally speaking, it'll still do well in the sense it's going to get good sales, it's going to make good money, but in terms of like the expectation that Microsoft and Activision have, Battlefield ate their lunch and dinner. And then, well, no, you could, and you know what? I think a game like Arc Raiders probably ate their dessert too. You know, the only thing I think Black Ops 7 is getting is breakfast. And by breakfast, I mean, you know, it's the first meal of the day, and you're gonna get those diehards in that are gonna, for some reason, like they will be there no matter what. But once they're finished at breakfast, they're probably gonna move on too. So, but yeah, I wanted to show you this tweet I put out. So, where is it? Here, this one right here. Okay. I like Neutral Zone. You're saying that like I'm glad you said what you said, Neutral Zone, because we need to address this. We need to address this elephant in the room. The amount of people I've been seeing trying to make it sound like Death Stranding 2 should not count. It should not count as a Sony Game of the Year nomination. It's purely Kojima Productions. I said I just found out Death Stranding 2 doesn't actually count as a Game of the Year nomination for Sony because they published it, funded it, let the studio use their proprietary game engine, and had one of their own internal studios help with its development. So obviously Sony should have nothing to do with it. This Sony should not be getting credit for this. Now, granted, the credit does, like, make no mistake. This is what I think people need to understand. People need to understand this. If this game wins Game of the Year, which I don't think it is, I think Claire Obscure is going to win. But if Death Stranding 2 wins, do you think it's not going to be Kojima Productions going up there, grabbing the award? Not grabbing it, that sounds weird, but like, you know, taking home the award and giving the speech. It's going to be Kojima Productions. And you might have like Mark Cerny or Herman Holst or some shit up there with him. You know? But yeah, Sony is the publisher. Yeah, Kojima's going to go up there and grab it. He's like, mine. We see a different version of Kojima that night. I just think people are kind of out of their fucking minds. If I'm being brutally honest about it. Like, how are you going to try to take this away from Sony, bro? How? What? You know what? Not even how. Why? Why? What does it matter? Like, Death Stranding 2, could it exist without Sony? I don't know. Ask Kojima. Kojima will be the first one to tell you, like, bro, when I had like nothing going on for me, I got fired from Konami and I had nowhere to go and nothing to do. Sony was like, bro, we will give you anything. You know, we're going to treat you like one of our own studios, like one of our own developers. He'll tell you that, you know? But yeah, no, obviously the overwhelming majority of the credit goes to Kojima Productions. They're one of the most talented development teams in the world. But, you know, to just kind of like, you can't just cut Sony out. Funded by Sony, using a Sony engine, you know? Sony's ex-dev development team helped with it. I feel like, you know, if the shoe was on the other foot and it was Nintendo, or if it was Microsoft, like, are we really going to say like it's not an Xbox game, it's not a Nintendo game? No, absolutely fucking not. If Death Stranding 2 was a Microsoft game, that Microsoft, like, you know, I have motherfuckers out here telling me that Ninja Gaiden 4 is a Microsoft game. And I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, Microsoft published it. I'm like, all right. If they published it, they published it. They can stake their claim. You know what else is a Sony game? Lost Soul Aside. I'll tell you what, when people are taking a big dump on Lost Soul Aside, who's the credit go to? Sony. That's a Sony game, bro. That's a Sony game looking like absolute ass. They're not gonna come out here and be like, that ain't a Sony game. What are you talking about? Sony didn't make that. Will you get like crazy PlayStation fanboys that are like, that ain't no Sony game? Yeah, of course, but they're wrong. If it's published, I mean, dude, this goes back to the Starfield argument. I remember people were trying to argue, like, is Starfield a Microsoft game or not? It's like, bro, Microsoft bought them, they own them, they published a game. Like, it's their game. Did they do anything development wise? Absolutely not. Like, did they help the development of Starfield? No, they did not. Starfield was in development for like 10 years or some shit. I mean, maybe they helped towards the very end, potentially, but it's like, no, like, they bought them so they could say, yeah, your game's gonna be part of our whole thing we got going on now. But yeah, you know, people are gonna be like, well, yeah, it's Microsoft. Moist Critical was clowning me on his Discord. The clip of you talking about YouTubers and games is in it. Maybe he'll make a video about you. Oh my God, dude. If Moist Critical makes a video about me, that's going to be fucking crazy. That's going to be crazy. What did he say? Dude, I'm assuming why can't it be the motorcycle clip where I shit myself? Why can't it be anything fucking cool, you know? He said I'm based. I highly doubt that. There's no way he said that. He's in that game, isn't it? In Dispatch? Yo, if Moist Critical comes out and says I'm based, okay, I'll take that. But if he comes out and says, yo, this guy's a clown, like, all right, well, you know, it's just another one that you know, nothing new, you know? But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I have my own thoughts and opinions on it, you know what I mean? Neutralzone, you're saying only fanboys will say that, but I'm giving Kojima full credit for the game and Sony for helping, but we'll always say it's a Kojima game. Don't care if the game was made with Xbox or Nintendo. So well, let me just get this straight, Neutralzone. You're saying that if OD comes out next year and then is nominated for Game of the Year, that it shouldn't count for Microsoft. Just so we're clear, that's what you're saying. $3.3 million on 60. Are you talking about Ghost of Yotei? So you are saying that if OD were to be nominated for Game of the Year next year, you would not count that as a Microsoft game. So you would then go to the Xbox players and say, no. Like, you can't. No, like, this isn't a micro. Because I feel like they would tell you the same thing. I'm going to be like neutrals on. I think that's fine. Like, if you are keeping that as your way of viewing it, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, you can, but I feel like you're going to run into the same thing with Xbox players where you're like, no, dude, that's Microsoft. Oh, Capcom lawyer, he called me a clown. Wait, so I was right. I said he called me a clown. Yeah, I mean, I guess I have many opinions that people believe are clownish opinions. You know, but it's fine. I mean, like, who am I to say? What somebody like Moist Critical, he's like, I'm gonna be honest, man. Like, he shouldn't even. I mean, people run in this shit. You know what I mean? Like, people take clips of me and they put it out there. I mean, that happens with all streamers. That happens all the time. But it's like, I'm not so judgmental that it's like, you're wrong if you do that. It's not that I think they're wrong. It's just, I don't know. I guess for me, like, the way I view it is, if somebody transitions, or maybe it's not like a transition, but they go in that direction, that's how I see them now. You know what I mean? Like, I see them more so as like, okay, they're somebody who's working in the industry, and it's like a more professional type thing. I view them as like a professional now. And I don't know. I guess, like, are there professional content creators? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I guess there is a layer of professionalism involved with content creation, but I'm not sure how far it goes, really. You're saying, MBG, he took offense to you saying YouTubers shouldn't be in games or any other industry just because they talk about or review that particular thing? Well, I mean, I guess, yeah, it makes sense why he would be offended by that, I suppose. But I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if I was like a much bigger YouTuber and like famous to a degree, maybe I would feel different. If I got a knock on my door or an email or something, that was like, knock on my door, like, hey, you want to be in our game? If I got contacted, it's like, hey, do you want to play a role in our game? We think you're the right fit. I don't know. Like, it's easy for me in this position to be like, oh yeah, I wouldn't do that. But if I'm in a completely different position and I'm way bigger, and it's just like, suddenly you're getting these offers, it's like, sure, maybe suddenly my perspective changes, right? I don't know. But just from where I'm sitting right now, it's not so much a criticism of the individual as much as I just think, for me personally, like, I become less interested, generally speaking. I become less interested in, like, well, I mean, I don't know that that's the person I'm going to go to for a review of anything at that point. I mean, I'm just being honest. Like, and I would expect if it was me in that position, like, yeah, I'd probably lose some people. It's going to be a natural thing. But again, you're talking about people that are so big and have such massive followings where it's like, whoever they lose, it's like, it's inconsequential, ultimately. It's inconsequential. You're saying, bro's just bringing up Asmongold for reasons. Saying, but MBG, there are so many people that can review products, but the overwhelming majority don't get to be in the industry because they're nowhere near as popular. Oh, that's okay. That's an interesting angle. So you're saying basically, like, it's their level of popularity that, like, that's why. I mean, I guess, but to me, that's just kind of like a natural thing. It's why musicians a lot of time can transition into movies, where it's like they made their name doing music, It's just like, well, can you act too? They're both like art forms, I guess you could say. And sometimes sometimes they do mix well. Where you're like, yeah, there are musicians who turn out to be great actors. Maybe vice versa. I guess I don't know. It's just, to me, it does just feel a little bit different. But I don't know. I mean, it's always interesting to me when you get like content creators that make games. That's always a more interesting angle to me, just because it's like you hear people give their reviews all the time, and it's like what they would change and how they would do things, but then occasionally you have like those reviewers or people who are critical towards games, and then they're like, well, actually, I'm going to make my own game. That always fascinates me, because it's like, well, okay, like let's see how it goes. You know what I mean? Like, that can be a very good thing or a very bad thing, depending on how it goes. And I think one thing I think is a very common thing that, oh, hold on, I'm trying to get this off the screen now. Something that I think is pretty common is that everybody finds out, oh, it's a lot harder than we thought. Where is? Hold on, sorry, there we go. All right. Whiskey Gaming, you're saying, I don't even know who we're talking about. You think Moist was in things before he hit the big time streaming? Yeah, I'm not too familiar with his history, to be honest. I know he's been around for a long time, though. But it was funny, because it's like I wasn't even really thinking of him when people were mad because I was calling out. I wasn't calling out, but I mentioned Yang Ye. And it's like, my whole thing with Yang Ye, to be honest, like I missed when he was a Metal Gear YouTuber. And, I come across some of his stuff occasionally, and I try to like check it out. And I'm like, it's not the same though, But I don't know. Yang Ye was getting clowned for something. Wasn't he getting clowned for being like he's a character in Yakuza or something? And I don't know. I don't know why people are. I'm assuming he's doing a good enough job, like a good job, if he's still got that role. Oh, I don't know. I haven't been following that closely. Really? You guys are saying he's not good as Kiryu? Yeah, I mean, to me, Yang Ye is always going to be the Metal Gear guy. Like that's when I discovered him. I remember he was building up to MGS5 and all that. But I can understand why it ended so abruptly. Because, like, I mean, if you're covering MGS5 and you're covering Metal Gear and Konami, and then Konami does the craziest thing ever, and it's like, oh, shit. I'm saying getting to be in the industry based on reviewing products shouldn't act as a prerequisite for a professional designer, but since it's YouTubers, they get there without said prerequisites. I don't know. I mean, I guess it does depend on who we're talking about, because, like, if it's true that Moist Critical if he was already doing stuff prior, then it would be the opposite. It's like, okay, well, he does have like a prerequisite, But I guess, I don't know. I think we've seen in other industries where like people get opportunities based off of their popularity and notoriety, and it doesn't work. Like, I think we've seen that too, where it's like, oh, I'm pretty sure this person can act in this movie because they're the next big hot thing, or they're the hot shit right now. And then it's like, oh, okay, that was kind of a mistake. We've seen that too, and vice versa. Again, I think you've seen people cross into other fields, and sometimes I think it works and it makes complete sense. Other times it's like a train wreck. Raven X0, a member for 15 months, says, I used the black DualSense Edge that I received yesterday. Feels great to use a new controller. My original DualSense Edge needs new grips and buttons. Damn. Yeah, on my DualSense Edge, I noticed the grip is coming off a little bit, which is kind of annoying. I'm like, bro, this is a $200 controller. Come on now. But I'm glad to hear you're enjoying it, Raven. Alexander, you're saying it's really impressive that Sony has 19 nominations with no games. Yeah, that was a whole other thing, dude. The whole, they don't have games. Sony doesn't have games type thing. I mean, I've been seeing that all year, and I'm like, I've tried telling people, like, guys, it's the quality of the games that matter more so than the quantity. Quantity is important too. You need to have games, and the more high quality games, the better. But if it's a choice between one or the other, do you want fewer games at higher quality or more games at a potentially lower quality? It's like, yeah, I'm going to choose the higher quality. And that's the thing, man. Like, I will say, I have not enjoyed Ghost of Yotei as much as other people have. But regardless, it's like, yeah, I cannot deny that it's a very well made game. I am getting a little bit bored with it as I'm trying to platinum it. And then, again, that's maybe somebody could say that's my fault because you don't have to platinum it, like I could just judge the game based on the story that I played and doing some of the side content. But the platinum's getting a little bit monotonous, which I guess I kind of expected. It got a little bit monotonous with Tsushima as well. But how many of those 19 will it win, though? Expedition 33 probably sweep. Yeah, I'm wondering if that's what's going to happen. Like, at the end of the day, it's like, you're the most nominated, but you didn't win anything. Claire Obscure took it all. That might happen. I would say, in the case of Claire Obscure, there's a good chance that will happen. Yeah. Jesus, Radic, that is crazy. That is crazy aggressive towards Microsoft. Yeah, I see Gaming Survivor name dropping Steve Ballmer. Every time I think of Steve Ballmer, I just think of that developers clip. Developers. Well, yeah. But at the same time, Tarnish, like, we're talking about somebody who has such a large following. Like, I don't know that I want to be on that dude's radar. I don't know if I should be scared and worried, or if it could be like the greatest thing that ever happens to my channel. I don't know. I don't know that I want to find out. Because the thing is, like, on a stream like that, I'm just like saying, I'm just like, I don't know. I don't even know what topics I'm talking about at that point. That's why Rockstar doesn't release many games, because they're focusing on quality and innovation. That's why they're the best. Well, I mean, dude, that's why it's like, even though people are going to be upset about how long they have to wait, they know it'll be worth it. Well, no, I mean, not like literally scared. You know what I'm saying? I mean, literally, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, I'll tell you, like, I am surprised to hear that. Like, I am genuinely surprised here. It's like, I didn't say, like, I wasn't talking about that topic too earnestly. It was just kind of like, whatever. I'm at the end of my stream. I'm not feeling the stream today, probably going to end it early. We'll just talk about whatever. I'm just going to start bitching about something. And that's just what came up. So I'm just like, ain't no way, bro. But you know what they say? You know what they say in the year 2025, all publicity is good publicity, right? That's what I'm starting to learn. Like, really, I'm starting to learn that. Like, one of the things that's been interesting to see is, like, people, I mean, dude, like, people become so desperate for attention and any type of relevance that sometimes I don't realize, like, literally even just the amount of haters I have, the amount of people that don't like me, the amount of people that hate view me or something. Like, there's so many people out there that would love to have that. Like, that's unexpected, but yeah, that seems to be true. I'm not aiming for that, though. I'm not trying to gain more haters, man. I'm not trying to do that. I'm gonna platinum Ghost. I'm very close to it. I think I have over 80% of the trophies. I've been done with it, man. I think my playtime is 60 hours, and I'm like, dude, I was definitely done with this game at the 40-hour mark, 45-hour mark. I was definitely done. And so now I'm at this point where it's like, I just need to push through these last couple. I think, like, some of the trophies excuse me, some of the trophies I have left. One of the trophies I just got was I got it this morning because I just wanted to do play it for a little bit to get all the bounties, you know.
That
And there's
used
like
condom guy is legit. Rat Shaker is 9 out of 10 on Steam. I'm going to buy it. Great stream MBG.
I had to take a couple extra seconds to process that chat because for a split second there I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Flaccid ham log. Flaccid ham log, thank you. He's referring to a viewer that came in yesterday, and I was reading his name very slowly because I was certain it said something. Like if I said it too quickly, I was going to say something that I didn't realize what I was saying. It was used condom. But he kept recommending this game Rat Shaker. He wouldn't stop recommending this game Rat Shaker. So Flaccid Hamlog took time to try it out. Says it's a 9 out of 10 game on Steam. It's legit. So thank you for letting me know, Flaccid. I appreciate that. Never change, guys. Never change. What was I just talking about, man? Yote? Right? Yeah, oh God. It really threw me off there. I was saying how in Ghost of Yote there's 31 total bounties that you have to complete for the trophy. And this to me is something that I think was unnecessary. Like it's fine. Like I'll put it to you this way: like there didn't need to be 31 bounties in this game. Like some bounties were much more interesting than others. I genuinely get the feeling with Ghost of Yote that like they felt like we got to like pump up the number a little bit. You know? Yeah, that's one way of looking at it, Tarnished. I really just feel like, oh, Mr. B, you're saying disagree. Any excuse for combat is welcome. Says my audio is really low, by the way, guys. How's the audio on your end? I don't know why YouTube is sending me this notification. It seems to be fine. The bounties are one of your favorite parts. Some are more interesting than others, though. Yeah, I guess like the bounties are not the worst thing. But I just felt like the level of haste at which I was like, I need to get these last 5 bounties done. And I realized because it's like, dude, I don't even care what these 5 bounties are. Like I'm just doing it for the trophy and because I wanted to be done with this game. And so by the end of that, I'm like, okay, well, that was long in the tooth. But some of the other trophies, so one of the trophies, I just get a little bit frustrated only because it's like, it's times like this, I do kind of wish I did have like the ABC 1, 2, 3 type map where it's literally going to show me where everything is. I just have to go there. There's a trophy where you have to bow at 10 specific spots for something to happen. And I'm like, okay, I have like 3 out of 10 and I have no idea where the other 7 are across this entire map. So I'm going to have to, bring up a guide and watch a guide to find those last 7 spots. And I'm like, that, like, to me, that's just dumb. Like, I'm not saying it's dumb for being in the game. I just don't like the fact that it's like, we're going to make that a trophy for you to get the platinum. Where I'm like, bro, what, like, why? But I know I know that these are like complaints for the sake of complaining because it's like, dude, you don't have to platinum it. But I guess I'm just saying, you got that naturally, Mr. B? How? Because I was thinking that. I'm like, is this something I was just supposed to kind of get playing the game? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I've only encountered 3 spots. I don't, maybe I'm just like walking by stuff, not realizing it. Oh, wait, do they? Oh, yeah, this game probably does have the help mechanic built in. Did you notice the signs when you were just exploring? That trophy was in Ghost of Tsushima too. I know. Yeah, the trophy was there in Tsushima. It was stuff like that I'm like, well, okay. Just clean this up, get it done. I did notice the signs the 3 times I did it. But I don't, now that I'm at like the end of the game and it's one of the last trophies I need, I'm like, my only choice now, I have two options. Just begin to wander around until I find it. Hope I get lucky and find it. Or I'm just going to watch a guide, probably 10-minute long guide, 15-minute long, and just have to mark these spots on the map. Yeah, I guess that's the thing. I wasn't really paying close enough attention. If I was, maybe I would be at like 9 out of 10 or 8 out of 10. And I'm complaining. I want it to be understood, like, my complaints are not towards the game itself. My complaints are towards my trophy hunt. If I were to just judge the game based on how much I wanted to play and then I was done, like, okay, I got my fill. I didn't really have any issues. Maybe a small issue with the story and that it was a little bit underwhelming to me, but very, very good game, from start to finish. I was just a little bit soured by the fact that I feel like, yeah, I could predict. Now, granted, Ghost of Tsushima was predictable too, but I feel like Yote was even more predictable. Yote had a couple of twists up front that I was like, oh, that's cool. And then, like I said, it's just like, but that's it. That's all you're getting. Now, from this point forward, you're just going to be able to predict exactly what happens. I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, wait, what's Radic saying? Who's your source, Radic? Trophy grind is rough. You think I'm judging it a bit too harshly, low key? Maybe. It's still an excellent game. It's still an excellent game. What other trophies do I have left? I mean, you have like the shrines and stuff like that, I think the thing that's good about Ghost of Yote, and here's a positive in terms of the open world and exploration and the extra stuff you have to do outside of the story, is the game does kind of encourage you to just kind of explore a little bit and just go check stuff out, just kind of explore naturally. And I think the idea is if you play the majority of the game that way, like you're not just trying to do the golden path, go from, story point A to point B to point C, and you're willing to do some of that, a lot of it in between. I would say, like, the idea is most people, if they played it that way, by the time you get to the end of the game, and then if you want to platinum it, you go to check your trophies, it's like you're done the majority of these. It's kind of like what Whiskey Gaming said a minute ago, where it's like he got most of the, those special bow spots just by naturally playing the game and just being on the lookout, by kind of just paying attention. And I will admit that I think maybe the reason why the trophy grind feels a little bit more underwhelming to me this time, if I had to guess, I think it's because I think at certain points in the story I was just too focused on, like, I'm not really worried about exploring. I'm just going to kind of play it like it's a linear game. But then as I got towards the end, I'm like, oh, wait a second. There's probably a bunch of other shit I got to do. Like, in the beginning, I started doing all the side stuff. And I'm like, I got to just focus down and beat the story. And then after, I'm like, okay, I probably should have balanced it better. But trophies / achievements are the worst thing that happen to games. Games used to be played for fun. They still are mostly, but people play them like a job now too. Yeah, that's the funny thing, man. I kind of feel torn between those two things because sometimes I do the trophy hunt for the love of the trophy hunt. Other times I do it because there's like a compulsion behind it. Like, and that's kind of Ghost of Yote right now, where it's like I could tell myself like, oh, I'm fine with getting 80%. I'm just gonna walk away. But it's like at some point, I'm like, no, I just need to get that trophy, like the last 5 or whatever. I just need to do it. Like, I need to just get that 100%. But that's the thing too. It gets ruined so easily because here's a DLC, and even if I hadn't, it's like I don't really want to play the DLC right now, and I don't know if I'm going to. But then you look at the trophy list, and now suddenly it's that 100% goes to 84%. And I'm like, you got to be shitting me, So it's like there really is just no winning, but I don't know where it ends. I don't know how to end it. Yeah, there is that part of me that wishes trophies and achievements never Microsoft ruined that too, bro. That's Microsoft's fault. They made achievements and then Sony copied them. Microsoft is the worst thing that ever happened to gaming. I felt the same way about achievements, dude. Getting that 1,000 gamer score. Or if you got the platinum in 70 hours. Yeah, I wonder if it's going to take me about that long. I don't think it'll take me 70 because I'm at like 60 hours now, and I feel like I'm very, very close to platinuming it. So maybe like another 5 hours. Yo, chasing trophies are like a dog chasing its tail. Damn. That was kind of savage. But maybe not untrue. Maybe not untrue. That's why you hate it. You feel like you have to, even if you. Wait, Dill, are you trying to say like you feel like you have to, even if I go into it not for trophies? Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying, man. Like, if I try to pretend the trophies aren't there, it doesn't work because it's like I know they're there, and I know I want to check. Yeah, something wrong with us, man. Kevin with a super chat says, I hope they show Intergalactic at the Game Awards. Naughty Dog and Rockstar always push tech forward. Yeah, a lot of people are holding out hope that Rockstar will show up at the Game Awards next month. There's no guarantee they will. Nothing is leaked out, but I think people are kind of basing it on Naughty Dog's history. Naughty Dog has always shown strong support for the Game Awards. Even just last year, that's where they revealed Intergalactic. So I do think that, yeah, people are hoping to see more of it. They want to know what the game is, gameplay-wise, and they want to know what to expect. And, I mean, the Game Awards are going to have a lot of eyes on it, man. A lot. I think it gets more viewership than the Super Bowl now or something crazy like that. So if Sony wants to really, if Naughty Dog really believes in what they made and Sony really believes in it, that would be the place to show it. MBG needs PlayStation hypnotherapy to forget about trophies. I would welcome that. Yeah, it's going to be on Amazon Prime this year too. Yeah, that's going to do crazy things for the viewership, I think. That's going to be crazy. Yeah, I don't think Rockstar will be at the Game Awards. Could you imagine, though? I don't think so. Oh, Pikachu, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. I got confused because for some reason... Okay. Pikachu, I apologize. Sad Pikachu face. I'm sorry. Pikachu says, how does Ghost of Yotei get 8 nominations but not Game of the Year nominee? Can you explain that to me? Yeah, we were talking a little bit about this yesterday. I mean, the only way I can figure is that when it came to the voting for Game of the Year, something beat it out by like this much. Just barely beat it out. I don't know which game that would be. I don't know if it would be Kingdom Come Deliverance. I don't know if it would be Donkey Kong. I'm not sure, but I think Yotei was probably very, very close to being up there. And I'll repeat what I said yesterday, which is I think pretty much any other year, most years, Ghost of Yotei would definitely be up there for Game of the Year. It's funny because I did put out a question yesterday on Twitter. I was asking people do you think Ghost of Yotei should have been nominated for Game of the Year? And there were some people that were like, hell no, absolutely not. And it's so easy to tell who didn't play this game, where it's like, look, I'm not saying the answer is automatically yes, but to make it sound like it's not even remotely worthy is like, dude, you're kind of crazy. Like, there's no way you played the game. You played it or something. Like, I don't understand. I saw a lot of reasonable responses as well, though. Like, people were saying, well, it was a good game, not that great of a game, though. Like, I enjoyed it, but for me, it wasn't a Game of the Year. So, stuff like that, it's like, yeah, that makes sense. I totally get that. Other people saying that, yeah, it was a really good game, great game even, but there were, so many other great games that, they feel like just Yotei, again, kind of got edged out a little bit. And that's my take on it. Like, I don't agree with the notion that a game like Ghost of Yotei is not even remotely worthy of a Game of the Year nominee. I don't agree with that. I think it does most of what a game would need to do to, I think, at least be considered for it. But I also agree that this was a particularly strong year that you can't really do anything about. It's just like it's a crazy strong year, and there's so many great games to choose from that the competition being that fierce. Yeah, it can make sense as to why it just a great game or a good game like Ghost of Yote, depending on how you see it, great or good, it's not going to make the cut this year. And Capcom lawyer saying plenty of sci-fi, action, and other movies can get multiple Oscar noms in effects, music, editing, etc., but will never get a Best Picture nomination. That's very true. Yeah, if we're comparing it to movies, I mean, that happens all the time. And I do wonder if that's like kind of where Ghost of Yote finds itself. I don't know though, because like, well, let me see, Game of the Year. Game of the Year 2020 nominees. Yeah, so like Ghost of Tsushima was not. Here's what's a little bit strange to me is like Ghost of Tsushima was nominated for Game of the Year in 2020 alongside The Last of Us Part 2. And Ghost of Tsushima had a lower rating overall than Yote. And I feel like that's kind of, that acts as potential proof. And that's true, it was a new IP as well. That acts as potential proof as like, well, yeah, like a sequel to a game that already got nominated for Game of the Year, but is now even that reviewed even better. The only thing, in my opinion, that can edge that out, like I said, it has to be that sorry, man, this is just one of those years where it's like you got 2 or 3 other games coming in out of nowhere that are like, I mean, getting like 90s and shit. So, something like that, I feel like, yeah, it's like, well, Yote can be a solid 86, 87 on Metacritic and check off the majority of the boxes, but you got 2 other games that, come out swinging that are checking off another, like one extra box and, boosting up to 90, 91, whatever. Yeah, it kind of makes sense. The biggest shame was Death Stranding 2 not getting a single nomination in Best Performance. Like, what the hell? Yeah, I'm still perplexed by this one, man. I still stand by what I said yesterday that Higgs and the performance from Troy Baker, like, don't get me wrong, he did great as Indiana Jones, but I don't know, man. Like, the thing that was cool about Higgs, again, this is not a slight towards Indiana Jones because it's a Microsoft game. It's not that. It's just I feel like what he did with Higgs and Fragile's performance was great too. But what he did with Higgs was more unique and more original and felt, I mean, don't get me wrong, like it was took inspiration from like the Joker and stuff like that, but it just overall felt more like like a unique character in a unique game world where, this performance, at least to me, kind of stood out. That's just my opinion of it. I mean, Higgs was in Death Stranding 1 as well, and he did well in that, but there's such a change in Higgs in Death Stranding 2 in his character. And I think, Troy Baker did a really good job with that. But Troy Baker wins either way because he's still nominated for, Indiana Jones, so I'm sure he's happy. But yeah, there were a lot of great performances in Death Stranding 2. Like, a lot of people were mentioning Fragile. And I mean, look, even Norman Reedus, dude, even though he played a stellar character for the majority of the game, there were quite a few emotional moments, and, Norman Reedus, in that role, I feel like he could have easily overacted it. Maybe there's an argument to be made that he kept it too subtle, but even moments with Sam, like I thought was very, very good. Yeah. What scenes I'm talking about, Irfan. And stuff like that. And I'm like, it is a little bit surprising to see that game not get a single nomination in that category. It really was kind of strange. But, there's always some level of strangeness at the Game Awards every year. Always. There's always some level of strangeness where it's like, I swear, it's across different categories each year, but I'm sorry to rehash it again. I know we just talked about it yesterday, but my God, like I still can't believe The Last of Us Part 2, Season 2 is nominated over Twisted Metal. Like I'm just like, this is unacceptable. Like that to me is the most unacceptable. But every year there's always that like one truly bizarre, like, huh? Without fail. Without fail. Dragon Age Inquisition is the lowest rated game to win Game of the Year at 85. Oh shit. That was 2014, wasn't it? Write them a letter. I'm going to write them a letter. Yeah, we're going to talk about that next. Sony wanting seemingly to take on Nintendo in Japan. Hold on one sec though. Before we do that, I have to check something. So apparently Sony released the Black Friday savings for PlayStation. Do you guys see this? All right. I'm gonna the people who pick the shows will definitely hate a show like Twisted Metal. Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah. All right. We need to cover this topic now because this one is a little bit surprising. Came across this on Twisted Voxel. Sony was reportedly indifferent to the PlayStation market shrinking in Japan under prior leadership. Under its prior leadership, Sony Interactive Entertainment was reportedly indifferent. Well, actually, before I read this, I want to present what Genki put here. Genki Japan. Because he summarized it pretty well rather than reading the entire article. It says, PlayStation President Hideaki Nishino reportedly pushed through the PS5 price cut in Japan after seeing the system slump against the Switch 2. Previous management believed it was acceptable. Previous management believed it was acceptable for Nintendo to erode PlayStation's market share in Japan. New leadership decided to make a Japanese-only PS5 for the Japanese market, like Nintendo did with the Switch 2. The price cut comes at a risk, with the Japan-only PS5 possibly being sold at a loss. New Japanese PlayStation president Hideaki Nishino and the Japanese team helped push forward the new Japan-focused measures. And so, continuing with this report, it says a report from Japanese media outlet TV Tokyo has shed light on the internal dynamics behind Sony Interactive Entertainment's decision to release a new Japan-exclusive PS5 model. According to the report, prior leadership within the company had developed the sentiment that, quote, it is acceptable if the PlayStation market in Japan continues to shrink, end quote. The revelation comes amid a major shift in Sony Interactive Entertainment's console strategy in the country. While global PlayStation sales have expanded, Japan has gradually become a weaker region for the brand, losing ground to Nintendo. This decline was reportedly met with indifference from prior executives who were more focused on strong overseas performance. TV Tokyo's report explains that the newly announced Japan-only PS5 launching on November 21st emerged from a renewed desire for Sony Entertainment to reestablish footing in its home market. The new model is Japanese language only, with its distribution strictly limited to Japan. The aggressive price cut suggests that the console is possibly being sold at quite a substantial loss. The shift in approach reportedly began when Sony Interactive Entertainment executives discovered that Nintendo was preparing a Japan-exclusive version of Switch 2. Inspired by this strategy, Sony leadership quickly approved its own Japan-focused PS5 model in just 4 months. A key driving force behind this reversal is the company's new president, Hideaki Nishino, who, according to TV Tokyo, views the ongoing decline of PlayStation's domestic presence as a major crisis. He and the Japan-based team share a sense of urgency that is pushing for Japan-focused measures. The report also highlights an interesting angle from the Chinese market. Because the local PS5 model is subject to strict content regulations and has a limited library, unrestricted Japanese PS5 units are resold at high premiums in China. By producing a Japan-only edition, Sony aims to both counter this trend and to revert focus to local consumers. So what do you guys think of this? And we have Rich Rod, and he says, he's been a member for 28 months. He says, you got the 27 members strictly due to people wanting to listen to my GS World premieres. IO Interactive and Kojima, both absolutely repulsive. I don't know if this is true, guys. I don't know. Rich, we'll see. I'll play it at the end. All right. If we hit 50. Or maybe not. Who knows, Rich? Maybe I'll play it without hitting 50. Guess it depends on how I'm feeling by the end of the stream. But thank you for being a longtime member, Rich. Rich is like, rude. Rude. Japan loved Nintendo characters regardless of buying their consoles or games. They are culturally part of Japan. They'll buy Nintendo merch or visit their theme parks. Yeah, so I'm not sure what to think of this. On one hand, I feel like there has to be a reason the prior leadership was like, this is a lost cause. On the other hand, yeah, it's Sony's home territory, and Sony's always had a Japanese focus to a degree, you know? I think so much of this has to do with the PlayStation, the upcoming PlayStation handheld. I do. I really think that has so much to do with this. I think that, you know, Hideaki Nishino is also not Jim Ryan. Hideaki Nishino is Japanese, obviously. I think he resides in the, maybe I'm wrong, but I mean, Sony's Japan HQ. You know, a lot of people thought that once he took over for Jim Ryan and really like took the CEO position, that we're going to see a more Japanese focused Sony PlayStation once again. And this all makes sense. But like, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see like what the numbers look like for this reduced price PS5. Because when we were watching that state of play, it was like, yeah, I was telling you guys as we were watching it live, I'm like, dude, this is like a soft relaunch of the PS5 in Japan. That's how they're treating this. It was very strange for people like us. Well, I don't know if anybody here is Japanese or lives in Japan, but you know, at least for me, where it's like why the hell is Sony telling me about like they were talking about the DualSense like it was new. It was really weird. But you know, when you kind of realize that they're treating the Japanese market like we kind of skipped you guys a little bit. So we're gonna do this again. We do take two, you know? It makes more sense. But what major studio / publisher does Sony have left in Japan? Team Asobi. So while that may be the only one, it's a big one. I mean, it's Astrobot, you know. I'm wondering if Sony's going to be able to catch up, though. Yeah, that's true. They own a little bit of FromSoft. Oh, yeah, sorry. Polyphony Digital, of course. So Polyphony Digital, Team Asobi. I don't know how I forgot Polyphony Digital. Polyphony Digital, Team Asobi. I think that might be it. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. I can't believe I forgot Polyphony Digital. Sometimes I forget they're a Japanese studio. Like, yeah, they are. Unknown's like, God damn, bro. I do want to ask you guys, though. I think a part of XDev is in Japan, actually, yeah. I want to ask you guys, like, what do you think's going on at Sony? Like, what do you think changed? Why do you think suddenly Sony is like, we're very worried about, like, I mean, the article put it that, like, apparently Sony's new leadership sees it as a crisis. What changed? I know the leadership changed, but I mean, like, what is driving the urgency where it's like, I guess it's weird though, right? Like Sony's numbers have been shrinking in their own home territory for this entire generation, and now they're just like, huh? You know, like out of nowhere. Titus, according to a new report, Japanese report, Hideaki Nishino and Sony are viewing their situation in Japan compared to Nintendo as a crisis. Like they're kind of, I don't know if they're panicking, but they're like, now they're very serious. Like we gotta take on Nintendo in Japan now because they've completely taken up all of our market share. And Capcom lawyer with super chat says, one problem Sony has in Japan now is most Sony IP is now Western based. The Last of Us, Horizon, Uncharted, Intergalactic characters don't resonate there as much. That's very true. It's very true. And yeah, I don't know what they're going to do about that. They might have to consider building some more. I mean, look, if Sony's that serious, they would consider building some more Japanese studios. If they're dead ass serious, like that would be a way to do it. It would be expensive. It'd be risky. But, I mean, that would definitely catch the attention of not only the Japanese market, but, you know, anybody who likes Japanese games. Piper, remember for 8 months, you're saying it's because the industry is changing and they're not in a position to change with it. Everything is moving to PC. Well, I don't think it's that they're not in a position to change with it. I think it's that they're going to avoid, if that is where we're going, I don't know that, I view it more like Sony's going to avoid that as long as they possibly can. And maybe, yeah, that would explain why they're like, we have to refocus on the Japanese market. It's an interesting angle because if everything is going PC based, that's going to, like, that signals that Sony's model, as well as Nintendo's, is like, yeah, this could be becoming antiquated. We don't really know yet for sure. But it always comes back to this conversation that I have where it's like, people talk about specifically the PlayStation 5, right? The PlayStation 5 being a traditional home console, you know, Sony kind of in the high end, you know, mid-range, high end home console. Are they done? Like, are they cooked? Right? We see what happened with Xbox. People have determined, yeah, they're cooked. Okay. What now? What about Nintendo? Nintendo's not cooked, but people are not going to count the Switch 2 as a normal console. So really, it's just Sony here in this console space in a significant way. And we see like, okay, they sold 84 million, and they're clearly going to hit 100 million at some point with the PS5. They're on that trajectory for sure, unless they like raise the price again or something. Then maybe that would stop it. But I think it's safe to say the PS5 will hit that 100 million. The question then becomes though, okay, but what after? Like, what happens now? And that's what Sony. I'm telling you, man. Like, they don't have an answer to that, but they're not going to capitulate without unless they have to. And I don't have the answer to that. I wish I did. Nobody really does. And this is where we're in that kind of period in time right now where you're seeing a kind of divide where it's like pick which side you're on. And I don't mean side as in like you got to fight now. Not like that. I mean, some people are doing that. But I'm talking more like if you have no, Team Asobi did not close. If you have to you know, there's like two different directions the industry is going to go in. You know, going into the future. One is going to be like the end game. The other is temporary, right? Which one would you say is the end game? A lot of people do not feel as though what Sony's model of like, and Nintendo's for that matter, but also what Xbox's model was, that traditional console model, that is not the end game. In fact, that is what's going to be on its way out. And now people are starting to think like, you know, the end game is going to be not just PC, to be clear, Piper, like there will be consoles, but this idea of like everything's kind of, if not open, much more open than it previously was. Much more freeing, you know, where you have a lot more freedom. And this isn't a bad thing, but it can be a bad thing for Sony if they're not ready for that. Like you're saying, if they're not ready for it and it happens like too quick, that could be a problem. But yeah, the situation with Sony is fascinating, to say the least. We have a Raven X0 saying it's simple, just make compelling games that all gamers can buy, will buy, and make great streamlined hardware. They'll be all right doing that. I agree, Raven. Like, I don't disagree. But this is where I've tried to put a big effort into understanding what Sony's actual ambitions are. Like, bigger picture, end game. I try to understand what Sony's end game is, ultimately. And I try to understand this because I try to see if like something like what you're saying aligns with that. I absolutely agree. If Sony said, we're just going to make a PlayStation 6 and we're going to make a PlayStation 6 handheld and we're just going to make exclusive games for the PlayStation 6 family of devices. And that's it. That's it. Like, and then when we move away from the PS5, we're done with the PS5, and they really just kind of have that hard line, that hard, like that line in the sand where it's like generations, like they actually do believe in generations and the traditional model. I think they would be fine. As in, they would still have tens of millions of people buying. And if they make good games, that'll encourage people to buy. They'll still have strong third party. But I don't think that aligns with their greater ambition. And I think the struggle that Sony's going to run into is the very thing. Like, you guys remember when we were watching that Mighty Keith video yesterday? It's funny because, like, even though that is supposed to be like a comedy skit, there's like actual truth there, right? Where when he was doing the scene where it's supposed to be Sony talking to Microsoft on the phone, and Microsoft is just like, we don't care, bro. Like, we gave up. We're done. We're not worried. We're free. We're doing whatever we want now. We're free. It's a little bit hyperbolic, of course. Like, if they have to worry about their budgets and money and shit. I mean, part of that freedom is, well, now there's going to be mass layoffs and cancellations and the whole 9 yards, and price increases, right? But the general idea that like Microsoft, yeah, they're not bound by the so-called shackles of, well, we have this model that we built and that's how we make our money, but that model seems to have hit the ceiling and we can't make it go any further. But the catch-22 that Sony finds themselves in is, okay, well, just stay where you are then and find another way. Grow horizontally.
Switched sides quick. PlayStation hyped then Xbox kiss. Whole vibes off. Loyalty missed. Studio acting shady like they can pick which list.
Yo, Rich Rod, for a second, I was certain that was Digital Dude because he's straight up rapping. I was like, oh, Digital Dude's coming in with a direct donation. No, it was Rich Rod. Yeah, we need a rap battle between Rich Rod and Digital Dude at some point. That would be funny. Rich Rod, thank you again, buddy. We'll see. We'll see. Sony's somewhere in the middle right now. They need to decide whether they will continue with exclusives or embrace PC fully. There's only one way to change PlayStation standing in Japan, MBG, and that's a massive acquisition over there like Capcom or FromSoft. Sony already owns around 50% of Katakawa. That could change their standing in Japan big time. Absolutely. But it would come at a great price, and also these companies have to be willing to sell. So I think Sony, if any of these Japanese companies were willing to sell, I think Sony would definitely sniff around and be interested. What are my thoughts on Final Fantasy 16 after a few years? I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. It's a little bit long in the tooth. Some of the side quests were bad, but fun game. Really good. Really enjoyed it. Got the platinum for that too. But I do think that when you go back to that Mighty Keith skit and you see like Sony's like panicking. Like he was conveying like in that clip, like Sony's panicking because Steam just announced their own console, PC console, and we know that Microsoft is doing that with Xbox Magnus. And it's like this idea that Sony's now panicking that, oh my God, we fucking put our games on Steam. And then like Nintendo wasn't worried, but then they're worried because they're like, wait a second, hold on. Should I be worried? They can do what? And I think that listen, here's my evaluation. I'm going to try to like zoom out here. I always try to go for like the bigger picture view. I think if you zoom out, right now there is a line being drawn in the sand. It's not fully drawn yet. It's in the process, but we're seeing it clear and clear, right? As time goes on. And I think what you're looking at is there's 4 gaming companies, like the big 4: Valve, Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo. And I think right now that divide is between Valve and Microsoft and Sony and Nintendo. And that's not to say that they're like teammates per se, but it's kind of being forced in that sense where Valve hasn't, the whole idea that Valve does nothing still wins is very funny to me because it's like that's kind of what's happening to a degree where they just kind of did their own thing and they spent years building up like customer loyalty by not being super corporate because they're not a publicly traded company. And it worked out very well for them. Oh, hold on.
Yo MBG, I'm launching my own channel under MBG Productions, leveling up the game while I rep your name. New wave, same flame. Big moves. No shame.
Rich Rod, I need it to be known. I do not endorse this. This is unofficial. I don't want that. I don't want anybody out there trying to rep my name, bro. Like, listen, you can do what you want. You do not have my endorsement. Unofficial. I'm gonna sue you, Rich Rod. Rich Rod's gonna get sued, bro. Oh my God, bro. No. Loyalty is the moat. Gabe has low-key had an axe to grind against Microsoft for decades. He's ex-Microsoft. This move by Valve is Gabe going after Windows as a platform, not just for games, but OS markets in the future. That's true. That's true. Yeah, that's true. I've had some understanding of that aspect of like Gabe Newell, like you're saying, kind of like low-key, like we're not going to like go after you directly, but we're going to kind of chip away at you over time. No, I didn't see that almighty sweet upon. I do think that there's truth to that, but what I think is throwing everybody for a loop here is that I don't think we're about to see competition between Valve and Microsoft. No. This is why I'm saying I think they're kind of teamed up. Not like directly, but it's like, you know how people were talking about when the Steam machine was revealed, like, oh my God, they just killed the Xbox Magnus. It's like, dude, I've been trying to tell people like Microsoft does not care. Microsoft is in a different place right now. That Valve, they're kind of in a place that Valve's in, but it doesn't make sense for them to be. And what I mean by this is Valve has always had this kind of laissez-faire, whatever, like, we'll just fucking do what we want because we can do that. We can literally afford it because we have good support and we'll build it, but we're going to do it with really trying to just build customer loyalty through, pro-consumerism in mind. I'm assuming they've made mistakes over time, and they've learned from them, but the whole idea is like Microsoft was never that. Nor was Sony, nor was Nintendo. Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo were all three publicly traded companies, and because of that, it drives this intense, fierce competition of like we need to literally beat the shit out of each other. Like we're like Sony's gonna win by showing you something way more exciting and way cooler looking than Microsoft, and Microsoft's gonna win by doing that, and Nintendo is gonna try to win by doing that, and then they don't win. And then they make the Wii, and then the Wii stops with the Wii U, and then they're like, okay, let's just do a hybrid. So Nintendo's a little bit kind of in their own lane, but still all of these companies have something in common, and that is that there's this urgency and this aggression. And a lot of that has fueled growth. A lot of that has fueled innovation. A lot of that has fueled a lot of what we've come to love about the industry, but there's also been so much negative and downside with it as well. And one of the biggest negatives is the insatiable need for more growth, and how these companies, as long as they're chasing that type of growth, again, especially against one another, you always have to question, like, there's a reason why when you see Gabe Newell buy a $500 million yacht, you literally see people cheering it on, which is a little weird, but there's a reason. Like, it's because people respect Gabe Newell because they respect Valve in Steam because, well, again, like Valve has not been part of this. The I don't know if I want to call it a rat race, but in a sense, it can become a rat race. It has at certain times become a rat race where it's like, everybody's just chasing and chasing and chasing, and so many of these companies are hitting the fucking wall and making some of the most bizarre, dumbass decisions ever. But then again, there's also some good that comes out of it too. And it's a mixture. It's a mixed bag. And when I look at it from a wider angle, I see Microsoft doing something unprecedented for them, not in the industry, but for them. And this is, I always knew Microsoft was doing something. I just didn't know what it was. I always knew that there's something about them I can't trust, not because it's like they're, like they're out to get me. No, not like that, but like this whole we're weak, we can't compete. Like there's just something going on there. I'm like, what's your angle here, Microsoft? Because I know you have one. Obviously, you have one. You're a multi-fucking trillion-dollar company. Like you have an angle. I'm just trying to identify what it is. And it took a long time, but the angle is becoming clear now. Yeah, the color green triggers me. I'm just kidding. Don't let that stop you from dropping member gifts. The angle is making itself very clear now. And the angle, and I did suspect this a couple times. I speculated that this could be what it is, but I wasn't sure. The angle is that Microsoft is going to, when they bought these publishers, and I always said, like, that's their safety net. What I didn't expect is they were going to literally allow themselves to just fall completely into it. I didn't realize that. I knew they bought a safety net. I thought they were going to still be aggressive and, while having that safety net. Instead, they just said, nope, we bought that safety net so we can literally just dive off and fall into it now. And that may sound like a bad thing, but they did this purposely because to the right of them, they see Nintendo and they're like, you guys don't have a safety net. Well, you do, actually. Your safety net is your IP. But you don't want to fall down there, do you? No, you don't. No, you want to keep selling your consoles. You want to keep everything closed and keep and this metaphor or this analogy, I should say, that I'm making here is like they're all if you see Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo all standing on these pillars, they're so high up. The reason why they're so high up is because it's closed off. They're separate. You know what I mean? They're in their own. They're standing on their own pillar, and the whole idea is we can't fall off. We cannot fall off because, truthfully, all three companies do have a safety net, but it's just that they all had a fear. Microsoft, you could argue, was the only one that didn't before they made acquisitions. Sony's safety net is not too dissimilar from Nintendo's. Is they have IP. They have studios, they have brand power, right? So if the hardware blew up overnight, they could still survive and push forward through that. However, and this is the important part, you like just because you survive the fall doesn't mean you want to fall. And Microsoft basically was standing up there and they're like, we don't have a safety net. There's a YouTube video that actually argues Steam being a monopoly is good. Who made that video? That's interesting. I'd be interested to hear it because I'd be curious what their angle is, what their reasons are. But Microsoft was standing up there on their pillar. Pillar's not as high up as Sony's. Pillar's not as high up as Nintendo's, but they're high up. And they look down and they're like, we don't have a safety. We literally don't have a safety net. We thought games like Halo and Gears and Forza, we thought that was our safety net. That's not our safety net. That safety net eroded a long time ago. So we have to literally buy our own safety net. And you know what? We're not just going to buy any safety net. We're going to buy the biggest fucking safety net in the industry. We're going to buy Call of Duty. We're going to buy Candy Crush. And we're going to buy the Elder Scrolls. That's what we're going to do. So they literally overnight bought themselves the biggest safety net. And they did that because they knew that as soon as the Microsoft ABK acquisition went through, they're going to be like, hey, Sony, hey, Nintendo, peace. And they're just going to fall off willingly. They're going to literally allow themselves to free fall into that safety net because it's like, oh, don't worry. I'll see you guys down there soon. And the whole idea is that, like, well, what about Valve, right? So now you got Sony, you got Nintendo standing on their pillars with this closed off, they're up there alone and they don't want to be touched. They don't want to be moved and they don't want to be touched. They just want to keep going up. And the pillar getting higher represents the company growing. Now, keep in mind, when I talk about Microsoft, I'm talking about the gaming side. Because, yes, Microsoft is obviously a much bigger company worth a lot more than Sony and Nintendo combined. But I'm talking about Xbox, the gaming division, right? Sony is the highest up now. Sony has the farthest to fall. And I had this feeling, there was a hunch, that when Microsoft bought ABK, specifically ABK, that's when it started to become somewhat clear, where I'm like, they want to overturn the industry. And the reason why I was kind of against that is because, well, like, I'm like okay with this. But that's because I like console. That's because I like the closed ecosystems. I like the traditional way. I know some of it's anti-consumer, but I don't know. It's what I've known. And it's like, I've never had a problem of like, oh, you sold me with your game on your console. I'll fucking buy your console. I'll subscribe to your service. And yes, I will be part of it because you won me over, And that took a lot. I've never been against that. And that is that type of competition we allude to and we talk about. But I had this fear that when Microsoft basically signaled that they need ABK to survive, that there's something going on underneath the surface there. And I had this distinct feeling and this hunch that they want to overturn the industry forcibly. And maybe they've deduced, as other people have, that, well, that's where it's headed anyway. It's like, yeah, but we're talking about like a 20-year timeline. And they're like, how do we expedite that to 5 years? Here's how we do it. And that's the whole idea, is Microsoft could literally afford to be that disruptive. And yeah, guys, Heaven is saying hit the like button. Make sure you hit the like button. Overthrow, well, that's the thing. Like, there is the idea of Microsoft wants to overthrow Sony or overthrow it. Like, Microsoft wants to be number one. All of these, to be clear, they all want to be number one. They all just have a very, very different way of going about it. Nintendo's way of being number one is not necessarily through making the most revenue and having the highest ambition, but having the strongest IP, having the most recognizable brand, and also having the strongest hardware sales through force, And yes, there is a strength there. And you can tell why that's why Nintendo is so protective over it. Because again, if you strip away a lot of that, if you strip away everything from Nintendo, the Wii U almost did this, by the way. The Wii U goes to show how quickly you can fall off that pillar and start from the bottom again. The Wii U almost turned Nintendo into a freaking publisher, man. Like, if the Switch failed, we'd be playing Mario on PlayStation right now, probably, or on Steam. But the opposite happened. They stopped themselves from falling all the way down, and they climbed all the way back up to a higher height than they've ever gotten to before. And now they're doing so again with the Switch 2. But again, that's a strength from their perspective, because it's like, we are doing it our way by our rules. And I get that's why so many people are anti-Nintendo, because it's like, if you're anti-Nintendo, you're anti-corporate. We don't want to see a corporation have a position of strength through force. And I agree with that. But that's why it's like, but MBG is not antithetical to what you just said, where it's like, but I do like the traditional way, the more closed ecosystems. Yes, but only when there's multiple players at each other's throats. That's the only way it works, where it's like, it can only be so egregiously closed off and egregiously anti-consumer if there's only like one player or two that aren't even in the same lane anymore. That's why I've been saying this whole time, like, that's why I've been saying, like, and I've had such a problem to a degree and so much friction against a certain portion of the Xbox fan base is because I try to tell them, like, you guys, I'm advocating for what you guys should also be advocating for, because that's where you came from. Like, you want that. You want that too. You want, and I'm not saying console wars. I'm tired of people fucking, and I get it, console wars, but it's like, I'm tired of people trying to make it seem like for some reason the platform wars are better or whatever. It's like they're not better. They're just different. A competition, high level competition is high level competition. I just prefer to see it in the console space, in that console ecosystem space, and a lot of people prefer to see it that way. Well, frankly, because I think there's a lot of nostalgia attached to it. Again, it's what I grew up with. It's what I know. It's what I like. It's what, I guess you could lump me in with those people where it's like, I don't know if I want change, bro. I don't know if I want change like that. It could be good. That's why I'm trying to keep an open mind towards it. But I like the days of Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft having like a three-way battle where they're all trying to hook each other, And we're over here watching like, yo, okay, show me what you got, I miss that shit. These days, everything just kind of feels like we'll just do things how we want to do it, and we're not worried about anybody else. Like, of course you're not. Of course you're not worried about anybody else. I liked it better when they were all fighting for the same fucking lane, dude. Anyway, let me put that tangent aside. Let me continue with my analogy. So Nintendo's up there on their pillar, total control. Carl, I'll try not to. You got Sony. Here's the thing. Sony's pillar is higher than Nintendo's in terms of like, yes, we are making the most revenue in gaming. We make Nintendo and Microsoft look like chump change, especially Nintendo with how much money we're making. But it's like, okay, but at what cost? And that's the thing, is it's like, well, there's definitely a cost. You're giving up some level of control while trying to maintain the, whatever you're not giving up, you want to hold on to that as tightly as you can. And then like pick and choose what you're going to give out in a name of, this is where we talk about the PC ports. This is where we talk about Sony, fucking putting games on mobile and shit and not on PS5, because it's like they're like, how do we go higher, man? We need to go higher. We need to go so high, the highest anybody's ever gone. And that's all attached to that, again, insatiable need for growth. You have Microsoft, who said, hey, we were trying to do that, and you got so far ahead of us that we're just like, rather than focusing on getting all the way up there and catching them, we should be more focused on building a fucking strong safety net so when we jump off this bitch, we don't die. And that's exactly what they did. And hence why Microsoft, why do you think it's the whole Microsoft is dead? There's this argument, is Xbox dead? Why is Xbox dead? It's like, Xbox didn't die. They jumped off the pillar and landed on their own safety net that they paid. They paid to have that safety net brought in. Back that safety net up, bro, because we're going to need it, because this is where it's going. And that's what they did. Anyway, we look at Valve. And Valve is the funniest one in all of this, because Valve, I need to get something straight here. Hold on, I just need to make sure. I need to get my ducks in a row here. Okay, chat, I'm going to need your help on this one. I'm going to need your help on this one before I continue with this analogy. What is this, Irfan? Oh, shit, Twisted Metal Season 3? Hell yeah. They just confirmed it. Oh, I will be there. I'm so happy about that. It was so good. I'm glad. Thank you for that. I need your help on this one. The AI overview was telling me. Now, I just wanted to see PlayStation's revenue versus Sony's. It says in 2024, Sony's gaming division generated significantly more total revenue than Valve did from its platform commissions. Sony is reporting around $30 billion compared to Valve's estimated $3.2 billion. Is that true? Well, no, hold on. It says here total revenue estimates. Other sources indicate that the total sales revenue generated on Steam was around 10.8 million. So it's hard to know what Valve's revenue is because they're private. So we have estimates. Apparently, I'm assuming these are educated estimates, people who would have a well-rounded understanding. It's anywhere between 3.2 on the low end and 10.8 billion on the high end. Okay, I have to, I'm assuming this is true. Who the hell is Carlos? Says, I used to be a legs guy. Silent Hill 2 has changed that, man. Sorry to hear that, Carlos. I'm sorry to hear that. So I have to be honest, if these estimates are true, PlayStation has made potentially $700 million plus from PC platform sales in fiscal year 2023. Interesting. Yeah, it was a couple years ago, though. If this is true, though, if this gap between how much revenue Sony has made versus how much Valve has made is true, then this is worse than I thought, in a sense. Well, I mean, that's the thing. We're talking about billions of dollars. Valve is making making $3 billion is a shit ton of money. But it's this is where when we look at the incessant need for going higher on that, seeing that pillar rise up higher. It's a weird analogy. I don't know why I'm going with this fucking analogy. I have no idea why. It's just what I'm visualizing in my head, I guess. Estimated 28 to 45% of PlayStation's first-party revenue comes from off-console. But, Irfan, that's from, fiscal year 2023, though. Fiscal year 2024 apparently was only 2%. Yeah, I'm leading towards playing Creed's higher. I mean, that's basically Sony's theme song, Can You Take Me Higher? That was from 2 months ago. PlayStation's PC efforts paying off. Estimated 28 to 45% of PlayStation first-party revenue comes from off-console. That can't be true. Can it? Well, from their first party though, that's the key here. Not total gaming revenue, for just simply their first party games. That's a tough one. Yeah, that's a massive difference. 28 to 45%. We're fluctuating between 1/4 and a half. That's a why? I wonder why that gap's so big. But when you look at Valve's in a funny place. Valve's in what I think to be a funny place in this analogy, because Valve is standing on a small pillar. See, Valve might be on the smallest pillar, on the shortest pillar, right? But it's funny because it's they aren't even, they don't care about any of the others. They're just we're just doing this. We're gonna do it how we want. We're going to do it at the pace we want. We don't care how much total revenue we're making. We're going to take care of our shit, take care of our people. And I know it makes, again, it makes Valve sound so great. And that's why people love Valve so much, because, again, it's the nature of, well, private company versus publicly traded, company that's expected to make record earnings. It's an asking for investment. That's the huge difference maker. And so, to kind of try to conclude this analogy, if I can, as best I can, where Sony stands right now, again, Sony has the tallest pillar. They're standing there alone. And most of what got them to those heights, they have complete control over. Most. They had to relinquish some control to help boost them that high. Again, hence the PC ports, hence doing video, doing TV shows, doing movies, embracing cross-gen. All these things were in the name of trying to raise that pillar to a greater height. Now when Sony looks down, they see Microsoft all the way down there. And they see Valve. And then they look to the right of them and they see Nintendo, not as high up as them, but Nintendo's still lower, but then they just kind of see Nintendo in between. And so I think the reason why I think this is an apt analogy is because I think it gives you a good visual of like where each company is right now, like where they stand, right? And when you look at Sony, they have this sense of, but we are on top, right? We are at the top. It's like, yeah, you are, but for how long? And that's what everybody's asking. Even Microsoft is laying down there like, so Sony, feeling kind of lonely up there, starting to feel like you're gonna slip a little bit, huh? Like Microsoft's down there waiting, dude. And you can see that. That's why the way Microsoft talks about it, it's almost like they're taunting Sony. Low key, I know this sounds like crazy. Like, oh my God, MBG's crazy in the console war weeds right now. No, but think about it. Think about it. Like when people regurgitate certain things that Microsoft executives say, how do they regurgitate it? Oh, it's like, what did Microsoft say? Microsoft said they're going to embrace multiple storefronts. First thing people think of is like, oh shit, Sony, what are you going to do about that? What are you going to do? What are you going to, Sony, what are you going to do when Microsoft is going to let people play your games that you put on Steam on the Xbox console? And that's why Microsoft is laying down there, hands behind their head, just like, we knew this day was coming, and that's why Sony right now, they're all the way up there having crazy ass meetings, on phones, like, in phone calls and shit, being like, what do? We know how we got to this height. We know we want to go higher, and we know the last thing we want to do is fall because that's a long way down. What do? And that's why Microsoft is just biding their time. And they're like, hey, Sony, while you're up there, do you mind if we own Call of Duty now and we get 70% of all that goes through your PlayStation store that just goes to in our pockets while we're chilling down here? Do you mind? And Sony's like, oh, you motherfuckers. Like, it's the, it's the kind of, where we've reached this point where it's like Sony kind of got what they wanted. They need to hire us as consultants. We've got more sense than half their staff to a degree, because I am still just an armchair analyst at the end of the day, man. And I'm unsure, truthfully, where it's like, the one thing I know is that, okay, well, Sony, you do have like limited options here. All right. If the whole idea is, and everything I'm about to say, you have to keep in mind, we don't go lower. We only go higher. We can't fall. That's the worst case, but we're definitely not going lower either. We need this to keep going to greater heights. Anybody who gets promoted within Sony, like Hideaki Nishina right now, the CEO of Sony, like that's all he's worried about, because he has to be. Because if he's not worried about that, he's going to get fired, and somebody else who is worried about that is going to take his place. Again, Hiroki Totoki is the new CEO of Sony. That's the money guy. He's obsessed with growth. He said that himself. You can quote him on that. So knowing this, Sony, we have to work within a limited amount of options. No, I can agree with that, Gaming Survivor. They should have absolutely hired us as consultants when they were in the process of greenlighting Concord and developing that. We would have given them invaluable feedback. We could have saved them from themselves. And, that it's funny because Concord is that reminder for Sony that, like, bro, you are just as susceptible to falling off as anybody else up here. You're not better. Yeah, well, you are until you're not, right? Like, you can very easily find yourself at the bottom again. as we've seen. I think that's like a lesson that the gaming industry keeps teaching certain companies over and over again. But if you're Sony at this point, here are your options. Either cave, right? And say, we aren't going to fall, but we might have to start scaling down a little bit. Because what we're realizing is that this platform we're standing on isn't going to go any higher. It actually hit the ceiling. What we need to do is scale down, maneuver, and find another platform that's going to go beyond where this one plateaued. And you can imagine the difficulty of that, where it's like, okay, so Sony, you must be an expert climber. I love these. I'm just going to keep going with this fucking analogy. It's too good not to keep going with. You must be an expert climber, right? So you're going to have to freehand this. Is, again, you have a safety net, but that safety net's a long way down. So you're going to have to freehand it. You're going to be able to maneuver to that other platform, no problem, right? It's like, well, no, I'm not a climber. I've never had to do this before. So it's like, oh, okay. All right. Well, good luck. And that's what Concord Concord represents, like, I don't know, if you imagine, like, you got like 3 people from Sony, and they're like, you got like Herman, Jim Ryan, Mark Cerny, and they're on a mission. And it's like, we gotta listen, boys. We're on this platform here. We hit the ceiling. We can't go any further. So it's your mission. You gotta scale. You gotta climb across, freehand it. And then there's an opening here. You're gonna hit that opening. Boom, new platform. We're gonna go to high. We don't even know how high that goes. And bro, literally like a quarter of the way as they were scaling, Jim Ryan just slipped. And he almost took Herman with him, bro. And Jim Ryan's gone. And the rest of Sony sitting there being like, holy shit. Mark Cerny's sitting there. He's like, I'm good. Herman shook. Mark Cerny, he's okay. And they're like, Totoki, Nishino, let's go. Yeah, Cerny's clearly the anchor. But it's funny. Like what makes the analogy so funny is dude, I swear, if I could, I should put this into like generative AI if I could speak and see what comes out of it. But what makes the analogy so apt and so funny is that's literally what we're watching, where, as Herman is like sitting there, holding on for dear life, trying to, scale to the other side. At the same time, he has to turn around and tell everybody, don't worry. We know exactly what we're doing. He has to tell the shareholders. He's got to tell the fans, like, no. We're not taking Ghost of Yotei with us. Don't worry. You still get that Wolverine. Don't worry about it, guys. But meanwhile, we're like, bro, why, where are you going? Where are you going? And Herman's sweating like crazy, being like, I need you guys to just get off my ass, will you? Like, don't you know Totoki's the new CEO? But that's the truth, man. That's the awkward position. Sony, so like the team, like if you could imagine as a team, the team that's left on the platform that hit the ceiling, that's the PlayStation 6 team. I guess technically Mark Cerny would still be there, but you know what I'm saying? The analogy can't be perfect. But it's like, yeah, okay, well, you guys are focused on that and going to see what's out there. We're going to just build the PlayStation 6 and continue to make single player games, right? And the problem there that everybody identifies, like the shareholders are looking, the customers and the consumers are looking, and the fans are looking, and you're like, Sony, that's great, bro. Like, we're so happy you're making a PlayStation 6, but like, it doesn't look like you can go any higher. You know, I mean, where else are you going to go? And you have a lot of fans that are like, that's fine. We don't want you to go higher. Stay right where you are. In fact, go back down a little bit. Chill. You know? And that's the thing. Like, Sony obviously does need to listen to the fans, but we're not the fans. Most of them, I mean, they're not shareholders. We're not the investors. Certainly not the big time investors. We don't really care if Sony goes from being a $180 billion corporation to a $200 billion corporation. We're not worried about that. We're just worried about PlayStation, So for a lot of traditionalists, a lot of people who grew up with PlayStation and seeing how they operate as a traditional company to get them to the height that they're at now, we're like, bro, don't worry about trying to scale the wall and fucking go over to a whole other platform. Don't worry about that. Just stay where you are and maybe go down a little bit. Because that's all we care about. A lot of PlayStation fans. That's why you see a lot of PlayStation fans saying now, like, good, get off a PC. We don't care. And the reason, to be honest, the reason why I think a lot of PlayStation fans feel that way is because it's like those fans would rather Sony speak to them directly. And I get that. That's one of the things I can get behind that people don't really acknowledge. Where it's like, yeah, PlayStation fans would prefer Sony turn directly to them and say, guess what, guys? We got something really exciting for you. It's called Wolverine, and it's a permanent PlayStation exclusive. It's your game. That's right. You invested in the PlayStation console. You invested in the PlayStation ecosystem. You subscribed to PlayStation Plus. This game is for you. And yeah, like that has always had a certain allure to it for a certain group of people because it's like, yeah, dude, yeah, speak directly to us. We'll be here. We'll support you. You got our attention. And when you see Sony kind of going in these different directions in the name of growing more and again, raising that platform or finding another platform that'll go higher, it starts to make the people feel, that those who supported Sony up to get to those heights, like from a fan perspective, I don't necessarily know that the shareholders care. Although the shareholders do care to a degree, by the way. The shareholders are also just, if not more, they're probably more worried. That you could look at it as the fans have made a investment of time and, certainly money with the products you buy, but time and how much they care, and to a lot of people that can feel like an invest or like a real tangible investment. The shareholders, they literally made a monetary investment that if Sony makes a really critical mistake can fucking be very bad for them financially. So the shareholders absolutely don't want to see Sony make a boneheaded decision either. But that's why I just find, I think people don't quite realize that, like, you see all of these long time. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we're still going with the analogy, Broccoli Rob. It's a long one. You see a lot of long time PlayStation executives. Shuhei Yoshida, Jim Ryan. Connie Booth apparently got fired, and who else? I know there were others that left not that long ago too. But you see all these longtime PlayStation executives. They end up retiring, and they're like, "We're out, dude." Yeah, I got another metaphor after this analogy, so stay tuned. But they're like, "We're out," because we see like, listen. We're pretty sure we hit the ceiling. And even if we didn't, it's going to be real hard to break through whatever this is. You guys got Herman, Hideaki Nishino, you guys got it from here. And that's why I'm truly fascinated. Yeah, we'll stream that, by the way, DSV. I'm just truly fascinated to see how Nishino and Holst are going to navigate this because it's like, dude, I don't envy them. I don't think any PlayStation executive envies them. In fact, most prior and former PlayStation executives are probably looking at them being like, you got your work cut out for you guys. Like you have to navigate literally uncharted territory. And, every Sony executive that brought the PlayStation to new heights, they had to do that too. But at the time, there were like clear paths, you know what I mean? Where it's like, at the beginning with PlayStation 1, the mission statement was clear, like beat Sega and beat Nintendo, period. Okay. And become a third party, like a powerhouse third party platform. The mission statement for the PS2 was not much different. The mission statement for the PS2 was, keep an eye on Nintendo. We got this new guy, Xbox guy coming in, but don't worry too much about them. Just become the de facto third party platform and support it as best you can with first party. Let's get better sales with the PS2 than we did with the PS1. Boom, done. The mission statement with the PS3 got all fucked up because the mission statement with the PS3 is we're the best, nothing can touch us, we'll do whatever we want. And then they immediately dropped a long way. They got back up and they realized, okay, can't do that again. After that, the mission statement was clear. The mission statement is beat the shit out of Xbox because they beat the shit out of us. Granted, we had it coming. Maybe also take a couple notes from Nintendo because they are doing something crazy over there. Let's get some motion control shit going on. Mission statement from the PS4 going into the PS5 also very clear. Jim Ryan's mission and Xbox, continue to beat the shit out of them. Make sure they can't catch you. Jim did his job, dude. Like, regardless of what anybody thinks of Jim Ryan, he fucked up too. Jim Ryan's job was beat the shit out of Xbox and make good live service games. He was extremely successful with one, really unsuccessful with the other. So he did half of his job, mission half complete. You have to ask yourself, what's the mission statement of the PlayStation 6? I mean, really, I can't figure that one out because it's no longer beat the shit out of Xbox because Xbox is done. And by that, I mean, literally, again, they're at the bottom chilling. They're like, we'll do our own thing. We don't really care anymore. Sony, we're just going to make money on your console. Thanks. Okay, so it's not that. Is it beat the shit out of Nintendo? Maybe, or try to. I could be. They're making a handheld. Now they're getting really serious about Japan. Question we have to ask is that the right play? Is that the mission they should be on? Is the mission statement basically be very careful about Valve and Microsoft, and this shift to embracing PC and a completely open gaming market to a degree where, good luck trying to grow your business having a closed storefront or a closed ecosystem. Good luck. I'm not sure. That's the big question. I'm sorry. I know. My bad. I read what Pushing Polygon said. I'll start over. He says 4K 120 will be the mission. The mission isn't necessarily to beat another company. It's to maintain name recognition in the living room. I'm sorry about that, Carlos. Yeah, well, if Sony's standing up at the top and they're looking around, Zeke, thank you. If they're looking around and they're like, well, no one's really that close to us. That's the thing that people need to realize about PlayStation right now and Sony in gaming. They need to realize that Sony broke a record for the amount of revenue made. And, profits matter, of course, and they're trying to increase their profit margins. I'm just trying to explain to people, the reason why Sony isn't that concerned, they are, trust me, they're paying attention. They're not dumb. They're paying attention to something like the Steam machine. They're absolutely paying attention to what Microsoft's doing. But as far as Sony's concerned, it's we made it to a height that nobody else has in terms of generating a revenue that even after Microsoft bought ABK and Bethesda, they still can't generate. So we're also doing that while selling 100 million consoles practically per generation, give or take. Sometimes more, sometimes a little bit less. Well, really, the PS3 was the only one that was less. from Sony's perspective, you know, they're not really worried about somebody else knocking them off. And that's kind of like the scariest thing in a sense, because it's like, well, yeah, dude, now you have to worry about falling yourself. like your biggest threat now is you knocking yourself off the top because of just dumb, you know, misguided decisions. Because when you have Microsoft and Valve basically saying we're going in the direction of PC, right? Publisher, PC, that's where we're going. Because people, you know, people have realized and they're beginning to accept. Yeah, that's true. You're saying any business will tell you that profit is king and revenue is just an ego flex. I agree. That's why Hiroki Totoki's in charge. Hiroki Totoki was put in charge because he's the guy that's going to increase the profits. What they want Hiroki Totoki to do is, hey, bro, listen, we're breaking records with 30 billion. It is a nice flex, but you know, we need you to extract like a lot more profit from that 30 billion. So figure it out. And it's not necessarily going to be easy. But Sony, they're in this weird position, man. They're in this weird position where it's like they are at a very great risk of falling. Kind of like the Nintendo Switch 2. You remember the build up to the Nintendo Switch 2? Like, dude, there was this massive concern. It's like, are they going to fuck up? Like, I mean, like really fuck up. Like, we're talking like Wii U situation where it's like, bro, you didn't have any competition and you just shit the bed. You ended yourself, essentially. I don't know, man. I think, and you know, I think Nintendo, they didn't do that. Obviously, they're breaking records. And some people really don't like a lot of the decisions that Nintendo made. But from a business oriented standpoint, are we doing better now, business wise? It's like, yes, you are. Can they keep it up? Now that's the question. I just don't know. I wish I had the answer for Sony, but I don't. No, dude. Like, I don't know if live service is your answer. I don't know, you know, that this whole conversation, I'm telling you, the conversation about Sony and PC ports is going to ramp up. Like, you know, I see so many PlayStation fans focused on the idea of Sony not porting to PC, where it's like, do you ever take a second and think maybe that could be a bad idea? Like, you know, for the PlayStation business, like that, like maybe that would hurt them, you know? Where suddenly it's like, actually, we're getting less sales in our games now. You're saying Detective Seeds on Twitter said Sony is not changing their PC push. It's a 50-50 thing. It's up in the air right now. My assumption, if I had to just go with my gut instinct, is, I mean, dude, they came this far. Why would they just backtrack now? But then again, you do throw in the fact that you got the Steam machine and now you got Xbox Magnus, and maybe that makes them rethink it. I think that's natural. Like, that's going to make them think like, do we want to proceed as planned? Or do we deviate? I think it makes sense to a degree. Get them studios out of California and get some reasonable rates for the staffers. Steam Machine is not an Xbox, and Xbox hates that about it. I don't know, man. I think that I'm not necessarily opposed to the idea of the you know, and I'm only using this term because this is a term that everybody else uses, the idea of the console wars being over, right? Because my whole thing is, I just want the people who are saying that to understand that doesn't mean like you just have to replace the word console with something else. That's all that means. Like, this is the biggest illusion that Microsoft tried to sell. And they're still trying to, and it's comical to me because it's like, dude, even Valve isn't trying to fucking sell this shit. Because why would they? Like, Valve isn't going to tell you, we're going to fight you and beat the shit out of you, you son of a bitch. They're not going to tell you that. They're also not going to tell you, we're best friends and we just want to get along. They're not going to tell you that either. They're not going to tell you either, because they're going to just assume you have enough common sense, you know, to realize that, like, they'll do what makes sense for them. and what makes sense for their platform for their own reasons. And that's why I do think the biggest illusion that Microsoft has tried to propagate for a while now, and man, it's getting kind of like I'm going to throw up in my mouth at some point, where they're really still trying to push. And I get it. Maybe they feel like they have to, because it's like, do we trust you, Microsoft? It's true. Microsoft has broken trust. So maybe that's why. They've broken trust tremendously, and they've fucked up so many times. And they're Microsoft. Just people inherently just hate Microsoft because it's Microsoft. So maybe that would explain it. But it's like, I really hope that people understand that just because there's a potential notion that we're going to go to a more PC-oriented space where it's like, yes, like there will be most people potentially one day playing on PC, and everybody has embraced PC as like the de facto platform potentially. I'm just, hypothetical here, but if that's where we're really headed, that doesn't mean Sony and Microsoft are just like, oh, we're not competing anymore. That doesn't mean, like, again, it's like, so are we going to go from the console wars to the platform wars? If not the platform wars, are we going from the platform wars to the storefront wars? Guess what? You remove all that, you're still going to publisher wars. You're still going to be at war with other publishers. This is why I'm saying, like, the thing that people try to criticize is something that's never going to go away. And anybody who's living in fucking fantasy la la land, which frankly, it seems to be most of the radicalized Xbox fanboys, it's like, dude, where do you think this ends? Do you think this ends in some kind of gaming utopia where, like, you could fucking, buy a refrigerator with a fucking game console built in and play God of War, Mario, and fucking Halo? Isn't that great? Like, I swear, the way some of these people talk, it's like they think that's the future. It's like you're stupid. Like, I'm sorry. Like that's nonsensical. MBG question: what happened to the PSN PC port? Wasn't Sony about to make Steam like a PS Store for their games? Did they scrap? Oh, you're talking about like their own launcher? I think they're still doing it. As far as I'm aware, it hasn't been. If it was canceled, I didn't hear anything about it. But yeah, I'm just like talking I'm being so long-winded about this because it's like, dude, I am seeing people. One thing that I'm getting so fucking sick and tired of in this space is seeing people, where it's like, it's just, if they yell loud enough, if they speak confidently enough, it's like, I'm right. It's like, no. And I'm tired of people being so goddamn naive. The loudest or most confident person in the room isn't necessarily the right person. Doesn't mean what they're saying is correct. Doesn't mean they know something you don't. In fact, them having to posture themselves that way shows a great level of insecurity. In fact, I would go as far to say that those people you need to be a little bit concerned about, because you got the first question you got to ask is why are they speaking as if they've foretold, they've seen the future? Why are they doing that so confidently without an ounce of humility? Now, granted, I've done that too before, and I've learned from it. And I'm like, I should probably stop assuming that I know exactly what's going to happen. But I swear, man, I listen to some of these people, sometimes begrudgingly, and I try to keep my ear to the ground, I guess you could say, because it's like I see these names floating around, I hear about these people, I see the views they get, and I'm like, all right, let me go. There's got to be something to what they're saying. And I listen, and I'm like, what the fuck, bro? And you know what the saddest part of it is? Do you know what the absolute saddest part of it is? And I'll tell you this. This is where it's getting a little bit personal now. I'm sorry. Let me rant a little bit. Let me keep my rant going. You know what the saddest part of it is? You know the biggest thing I fell for this whole time is I thought that these people, again, I'm going to keep it vague, but a lot of this stuff that I came across of like YouTube videos, tweets, subreddit posts, all this different shit. And some stuff would go completely viral. And I'm like, I guess I should pay attention. I should try to. Because there's a reason, right? There's a reason. And the big takeaway I got from that is like, oh, I know why you guys hate PlayStation fans. Or like, it's all like the Sony pony and the PlayStation fanboy are like the bane of the gaming industry's existence, right? And they're like the biggest problem. And I thought I was like, oh, I get it. It's because like a lot of it comes off toxic, right? Like my exclusives, console sales, PlayStation being the best. I get it, and I'm like, yeah, that can be, maybe that is a bit much. And then it's not just that though. It's like, not only that, but everything Xbox does is bad. We hate Xbox no matter what. Xbox could do the greatest thing in the world and we still hate them. I'm like, oh yeah, that's pretty unfair too. Yeah, that's pretty fucked up. Yeah, and I'm just saying, it's like I sat there and I listened and I took it all in, and I'm a fucking fool for doing that. I'm an absolute fucking fool. Like maybe I am a clown. I should break the clown wig out. I'm an absolute fool for doing that because I was naive enough to think that like you think these people that are saying this shit, MBG, bro, no. And it's funny because some of my audience tried to warn me. They're like, dude, they don't give a shit. You're talking about the people that will twist on top of twisting 3 times over as long as they're postured as I'm above. I'm better. I don't dwell in that. I'm better than that. And they will fucking, dude, and I've watched it. I've seen it with my own eyes, bro, time and time again, where it's like, whoa, hold on. I'm seeing a clip of me, or I'm seeing somebody come at me for something. And I'm like, okay, all right, yeah, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was a bit, or if I wasn't wrong, it's just maybe I was a bit too heated. It reminds me of last year, back in February. I'm sure some of you guys remember when I was losing my ever-loving mind, which again, it makes for good entertainment. But I played that clip like a couple weeks ago where I was fucking losing it on Xbox players because we were watching that podcast, and I was basically saying like, you're an idiot. You're an absolute idiot if you believe anything that you just heard. And I said, but I know these people are going to come out and they're going to try to dunk on me and dunk on you and dunk on anybody else in this space that's been saying this shit. But in the end, we're going to be completely fucking right. And that's where I've learned over time where it's like, I get it. I was right. You'll never give me any credit for it. And the reason why you won't ever give me any credit for it, and it'll be easy for you to twist it, is because they're going to say, look at how he's acting. Don't listen to what he's actually saying. Look at how he's acting. And that's kind of the cop-out, right? Where it's like, whoa, hold on. Forget the way I was acting. Was I right? The thing that you spent months and months and months cashing in on, clowning on me, clowning on others in the space that were saying the exact same thing so you can line your pockets. Hold on, though. Were we fucking right? The answer is yes. The answer is yes 10 times fucking over. But you know what? None of that matters now. They just move on to the next thing. But you know why? Because they got their fill. They got what they needed. They made their money. They got their views. On to the next thing. I'm just saying. And then they want to get all offended when it's not that I don't really call people out like that, because it's like, I know you're not going to learn by me calling you out. That I've learned, like, that's the thing. I listened to what people had to say. I listened to their criticisms. I listened to their and eventually you realize, like, unfortunately, it's not even them. Unfortunately, it's not even them. It's their followings. Where it's like, so your followings are either A, so dumb that they don't see this clear as fucking day, or B, They're just willfully ignorant. They just ignore it. Or they're okay with it. I'm not sure which one is worse. And this is still what we're seeing, dude. This is still what we're seeing. And it's a sad affair because it's like, dude, people have come to understand, certainly by this point, that like things have changed. We've seen the last 5 to 6 years things changing, and we've reached that point where like, yeah, things are different now. But you know, I understand that. Again, it would be like, I'll put it to you this way. Imagine if right now, guys, right now, I changed the title of my stream. And I said, I changed it to Xbox fanboys exposed for insane hypocrisy. Okay? I changed my title to that right now. I pull up Twitter. Wouldn't take long. Wouldn't be too difficult. I spend maybe like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Maybe that'd be too long. But I go and I find some of the dumbest fucking takes from fucking nobodies on the internet. Random Twitter accounts, whatever. And I spent the rest of my stream. We're now going to spend the rest of the stream laughing at these people and shitting on them, which is fine. I want to make it clear there's nothing wrong with any of that. But then, see, here's the nefarious part. See, I'm a grown adult, and what I realize is those people posting those tweets and, I mean, saying some of the most brain dead shit, they're doing it purposely, hoping that that's what happens. Because that's the only way they'll ever get recognized. And so, sure, you can laugh at them, you can shit on them, and you can metaphorically like slap them on the wrist and show everybody like, look at how dumb they are and look at how bad their takes are. Laugh at them, shit on them, teach them a lesson. You're not teaching anybody a lesson. If anything, you're empowering them. And that's the sad part, is everybody knows this. Everybody knows this. They want you to do that. They're praying you'll do that because that's the only way they get any recognition. And so there's this vicious cycle of it's like, well, I'm just calling out people being stupid. You know, I'm just trying to show people what not to say. No, dude, you're giving some of the worst voices in this industry a fucking voice, bro. And that is one of the most irresponsible things you can do when you have a fucking platform. Like, are you serious? But that's the thing. Like, I would assume we're all grown adults. And it's like, just admit it. Like, just admit that you understand you're doing that and that you're okay with it. And if that's like something you're okay with, then so be it. People are doing much worse things on the internet. I just can't stand the posturing. I can't fucking stand the posturing of it's like, no, that's not what we're doing, man. We're doing this, and we want to get people on the same page, and we want people to be smarter. It's like, no, dude, you're empowering the worst people for your own gain, for your own. That's the saddest part, for your own gain, and people are too dumb to acknowledge it, or they just don't care because they're entertained. Oh, yeah, let's I see these videos pop up all the time, dude. Where it's like, let's talk about this fucking, I don't know. I mean, like this, if they're not a content creator, like this YouTuber or something, and this crazy fucking scandal. It's like, bro, like that makes sense. Somebody who was known, somebody who has a following, somebody who built something up and then they fall from grace. That makes sense. It's like, let's talk about this fucking random Twitter account that I found of some dude with 100 followers. Are we grown adults getting triggered over $1 billion, $1 trillion companies' plastic boxes made to make them more money? Well, see, that's the thing, man. Like, generally speaking, the only thing that I guess it depends on who you're talking about. Are there grown adults who are getting triggered by plastic boxes? Sure. Yeah. Like that. And that's what I'm talking about. Capcom lawyer. Like, it's like, do you know what you don't want to pay attention to? You want to make this place better? You want to make this place better? You want to make this space better? Maybe don't pay attention to the fucking retarded posts. Some of the most, again, brain dead, asinine, most likely just looking for some type of attention posts that have the dumbest shit to say about the Steam machine. Maybe don't do that. I don't know, maybe. But no, do it anyway. Do it anyway, and then be like, why are people still so stupid? Because you're fucking giving them the attention that they otherwise would never get. And Big MP coming in out of nowhere, bro, with a 5-bomb for you guys. Was not expecting that. Big MP, thank you for that, buddy. Where does that take us up to? 32. Is MBG crashing out? Well, hey, I'm crashing out. But don't forget. Don't forget, when other people yell and scream into the camera, that's not crashing out. That's not crashing out. That's entertainment. Right? Right? And here's your soundbite, Big MP.
But that was some fancy shooting.
I hope that played. I'm not sure
You're
if that came
pretty
through.
good.
But yeah, I am crashing out a little bit because it's just like, dude, I'm just tired. I'm tired of seeing people who are clearly like they try, again, they continue to try to posture themselves as being better. And it's like, dude, you're not better. Like the random tweets I see of, they're not random, but certain tweets I see from certain individuals, it's like, you are toxic. And that's why I find it so funny that, like, dude, I put out a single fucking image on Twitter and I say the image speaks for itself. And the first thing I met with is, MBG, I thought you don't, I thought you don't console war. You're console warring. And it's like, you do realize that me putting out this fucking image is like quite literally one of the I mean, if we're looking, if you know, you see like the hot sauces and you see the scale and you got like mild at the bottom, and you got like kind of hot, and then you got like really hot, and then you got like fucking insane. You're going to hurt yourself hot. That post is like at the bottom in the green, mild. What are you fucking talking about? What are you talking about? And that's the thing. But then they'll be like, you're gaslighting yourself. Like, no, dude, you're gaslighting me by trying to convince me and others that what I just did there, because it hurt your fucking feelings, is toxic. Guess what? That image isn't toxic. That image is a fucking fact. That's a fact. And one, frankly, who even cares that much about it? Guess what? I'm the one who posted it. Guess what? You're the one who replied to it. You're the one who's going to show it on your fucking timeline, or you're going to show it on your fucking, I don't know if anybody will use it in the video, but that's the thing, is it's like that image is in your head for the same reason I found it interesting. And that is now considered, well, you're just a pony console warrior. Right? Okay. Well, do me a favor. When you post that fucking, when you retweet that fucking post, or you post that clip, whatever, you know, of like, here's the tweet that MBG put out, console warring, make sure you follow it with what I said yesterday about how excited I am for State of Decay 3. Please do me that favor. Will you do that? Can you do that? Please? Maybe? No, you won't? Of course you fucking won't. Of course you won't. That's the thing, dude. That's what they do. And I understand it's like this is all rage baiting, but it's like, I mean, how long is it going to go on for? Until people wake up and realize like the very, No one is better than anybody in this space. You know? That like that's what I think is just is so painful to see is it's all about who can posture themselves the most convincingly. And it's like none of you people are better than one another. Like you're all here for the same fucking reason, and yet you want to talk about gaslighting? You want to gaslight yourself into thinking you're not. And unfortunately, there's so many foolish people who are like, yeah, you're right. You're different. Like, no, dude. Get out of here with that shit. Everybody has an agenda. And you know what? There's just so many people that they would rather sit there and pretend that's not real. Not my goat. Who's your goat? You think your goat doesn't have an agenda? This is why I'm saying a little bit of honesty goes a long fucking way. It goes a long way. People want hey, MBG, why don't you just admit you're a Sony pony PlayStation fanboy and you hate Xbox. It's like, well, oh man, hold on. I got a lot to think about here, man. Hold on. Wait, hold on. What makes you think that? Is it because I spent the last 5 years building my channel talking about how much I enjoy PlayStation? Is it because I spent the last 5 years talking about how I don't think what Xbox is doing is that good and it could be a lot better and I want to see it get better? And sometimes it's just straight up asinine? Wow. That's some crazy ass insight they got. I had no idea. Wow. Did you guys know this? Oh, dude, Irfan, that's funny, bro. It's like, I don't understand what certain people that come at me, it's like, I don't understand what you're trying to say. And it's like, I'm trying to say you're an idiot. It's like, okay. And everybody who's determined that I'm an idiot already, like, they're somewhere else, dude. So you must have something else to say. And it's like, well, you're a console warrior. It's like, again, everybody's been saying that for the last 6 years. Even though I've gotten many things right, I've gotten many things wrong. And believe me, you'll know the things I get wrong because they'll tell you. It's like, what about all the things I got right? You don't know about that? Oh, of course you don't know about that. Of course you don't know. It's like, well, why do you still talk about Xbox? It's like, why the fuck do you still talk about me talking about Xbox? Why don't you answer that one? Because it's entertaining. Well, then there you go. Are you entertained? There's your fucking answer. Like, there's the answer. And if it's not that, then it's because you actually want to come here to hear me talk about Xbox. I'm just saying, man, like, after years of dealing with this shit and seeing where we are now, like, dude, I don't even give a shit what, like, they always try to posture it as like, what's MBG gonna do if PlayStation, like, do you guys not realize, dude, I lived through fucking Concord. Are you kidding me? PlayStation can't go any lower, man. They put their games on PC, they fucking released Concord. Like, what do you think there's left? Like, Sony as a corporation has a lot to lose, but I don't give a shit about Sony corporate. You know? And this is what I'm saying. Ultimately, what I'm trying to highlight. Yeah, I liked Crackdown 3 too. What I'm trying to highlight is that the very people that are out here telling you, not just you, everybody, they're constantly talking about it way more than I am. Truthfully, take a close look. Take a fucking close look, and you'll realize they're talking about it a lot more than I am. These people that constantly are like, fucking fanboys, man. I'm so tired of these fanboys and these fucking toxic console warriors. And, you know, what's up with these guys, man? They're fucking clowns. They won't shut up. It's like, no, dude, you won't shut the fuck up about them. You won't shut the fuck up about them. If they are as dumb as you claim they are, and you are not that dumb, then you inherently should be intelligent enough to know they're never going to shut the fuck up about it. You should, like, that's the whole thing. You're posturing yourself as better, more intelligent, not on that level. If that's true, then why are you giving them the biggest platform? Not just occasionally either. Like, occasionally, whatever, man. Everybody's going to dive into the fucking mud every now and again. But when it becomes your whole fucking shtick, when it becomes the only thing you're known for, when you realize that that's the only way you can line your fucking pockets and get any type of relevancy whatsoever. Again, fucking own it. Own it. Admit what you're doing and admit you like it and you're okay with it and everybody who follows you is okay with it. Guess what? Do you know what the easiest thing in the world would have been for me to do? Anytime I ran into anybody that had some kind of criticism towards me and my opinions and my thoughts, and God knows I've encountered my fucking fair share, the easiest thing in the world would have been to say, hey, fuck you, buddy. I don't give a shit what you have to say. You're a nobody. I'm right. You're wrong. I got all these people to back me up. Look at the support I have, right? God knows I've been in those positions and I didn't do that. I didn't do that. Instead, I actually, again, and that's where the foolishness came in, is I decided to take time to listen to people where it turns out, actually, you are the wolves in sheep's clothing. You had me fooled for a little bit there. And you realize that, dude, this is nothing but a game and how they make money. Now, granted, I make money too. I'm not sitting here saying there's anything wrong with that. Everybody's here to make money. Make no fucking mistake. Everybody's here to make money. There's nothing wrong with that. But in my opinion, there is a difference between, like, just admit what it is you want. Just if you can admit what you want and why you're here doing what you're doing. Honestly, I mean honestly and openly, without any bullshit, to me, that's respectful. Well, absolutely. Dude, Capcom lawyer, I remember I started streaming once a week. And when I started streaming, to be fair, when I started streaming, people were telling me, like, you got to make a podcast, bro. And I didn't want to. I'm like, I don't know, man. I got a good thing going with my videos here. I don't know if I want to make a podcast, but I eventually did. And then it turned into a once a week stream. And yeah, once I realized, like, there's a whole different space here. And the way money is acquired is very different. And it is appealing. Streaming is very appealing because it's like, dude, relying on ad revenue, like just ad revenue, is fucking crazy. It's absolutely crazy and very scary, truthfully. Like, with the way these advertisers work, and that's why I'm grateful to be able to sit here swearing up and down, expressing my frustration about, the discourse and the overall discussion in the industry. I'm not expecting people to be different. I want to make that clear. I'm not expecting to change people, where it's like, hey, you know how you think you don't like PlayStation and you don't like, Xbox or Nintendo? I'm not saying you should. No, I'm just saying, like, just be honest. Just be truly transparent in what you're doing. Because I'm telling you, man, people and I can't believe I still see this shit today. It's insane. And it doesn't happen that often, but people still try to point out, they're like, didn't you fucking grift from Xbox to PlayStation? It's like, no, you fucking idiot. This is where, like, they'll point the finger and say, you don't watch our content or you don't read our content or whatever, bro. And it's like, you don't with mine either. You see, everything you know and see about me is through a fucking lens, through a filter that's created by some losers who I don't know, man. They can't help themselves but hate watch. Like, that's the filter you see it through. And you will posture yourself like you fucking know, while simultaneously pointing the finger at somebody like me and others saying, but you guys don't. I'm sorry, is that not the definition of hypocrisy? I'll tell you, man. These people out here, they put themselves out here so brazenly, so in your face, and it's like they are the epitome of hypocrisy. And I'm going to give a prime example. I'm going to be careful the way I word this. I don't know why I would be, though. I don't know why I would be. There's no the reason I'm going to be careful the way I say this is because, truthfully, I understand the point of this. I understand. The point is we need to just get our name out there. We need, you know what I mean? It's all about, like, getting the name out there, and I'm going to try my best to not do that because I don't want to be completely transformed and turn into the very thing that I'm complaining about. But I just have to give you this example that blew my fucking mind. Somehow, I don't know how. It's November 2025. I've been dealing with this shit for years. Wait, Prince, you're saying I'm viral? Why am I viral? Should I be concerned? And Big MP comes in. Big MP drops another 5-bomb for you guys. He's showing support. Hold on. Big MP, thank you so much. Oh, my tweets. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that, Prince. I've been seeing that too. I've been seeing my tweets have been trending in some instances like crazy, and I'm like, I don't understand what happened. I'm a source now. Uh-oh. Big MP, thank you once again for another 5 memberships gifted. That brings us up to 37. Now, here's where I'm going to end this giant rant, and then probably end the stream soon. Did the stream just break? Guys, are we okay? Wes is saying the stream broke. I got to give you this example. I was buffering for like 30 seconds. Yeah, I broke it. Again, I'm going to try to not name names because if I begin to name names, again, I'm turning into the very thing that I have a problem with. And I don't want to do that. But I got to tell you guys about this because I was mind blown. And Big MP with another 5-bomb. Yo, that's 3 in a row. He's dropping the bombs on you guys. He wants to get us to 50. Yo, Big MP's coming in.
Holy shit.
Thank you. That's 15 memberships gifted by Big MP, and that brings us to 42. So, guys, I don't know. Maybe help him out. Consider helping him out. We're 8 away from hitting 50. Thank you for that, man. No, I know, Capcom Lawyer, I want to acknowledge that too. I always retract. I always do because I always go into this thinking like I can get something through. You know? I can get something through. And I know it like that's an impossibility at this point in time. Unfortunately, I succumb to the inevitable. That is the inevitable. It's like, dude, you know, the lines have already been drawn. People have made their stances clear, and I just made the fatal mistake of being willing to hear out other people and listen and consider. And I didn't it's like the biggest mistake I made is not realizing like I'm doing that in a place where like, dude, you're just surrounded by hyenas, bro. You know, like you gotta be aware of that. And I didn't. Not everybody, you know, necessarily. It's a bit of an exaggeration. But let me give you this last example. Okay, I was watching something. Now, for context, again, I'm going to try not to name drop because it's going to create drama where there doesn't need to be any. It's because the people, the names are not important. The point that I'm going to make is what's important. Oh, I know that Capcom Lawyer. I know that. Dude, I don't have to do anything. Dude, apparently I shit myself on one of my last streams, and oh my god, dude, somebody showed me that clip. I was fucking dying. I had no, dude. It's fine. I'll lean into it. I shit my pants, sure, but I wasn't wearing my headphones, and dude, this bike drove by and it sounded fucking weird. And everybody in my chat was like, what was that? Bro, what the fuck was that? What just happened? I thought you guys were screwing with me. I'm like, yeah, guys, I dumped my pants live on stream and then sat there for 3.5 hours. And then I didn't listen back to the clip. Like, I had no idea what I'm trying to say is I had no idea what you guys heard on the other end. And when I came across that, I was fucking dying. I'm like, there ain't no way. I'm like, that perfectly explains why people were losing their minds in my chat. I'm like, what do you get? Like, why are you guys acting so weird? Meanwhile, dude, it's because what you guys heard on the other end, it literally sounded like I shit my pants. It was crazy, dude. But that had me rolling. But listen, on a more serious note, dude, I'm about to make that like I don't know. I'm about to make that a soundbite. It was so good. That would be an amazing soundbite. I should do that. All right. On a more serious note, and then we'll wrap it up. All right. Hold on. I need to make sure you guys can hear me. I'm having weird things going on with my audio right now. I'm getting all this weird feedback from YouTube. Somebody just told me a second ago that apparently it fucking, like, my stream was buffering for like 30 seconds. Can you hear me okay? We good? Just want to make sure the audio is good before I proceed. Can I use Wes's name as a placeholder whenever you dunk on someone? Actually, that's a good idea. Use Rudy. Dude, I was laughing my ass off at your comment, Gaming Survivor. I'm like, he absolutely was involved with that. With the revival of Concord, he absolutely was involved. You know he was. Gaming Survivor, I think that's so funny that you don't forget. You don't forget, bro. All right. So I want to give you this example, okay? If you've been paying attention to the channel for the past couple days, and not just my channel, but PlayStation News in the past 3 to 4 days, there was a rumor that began to circulate. Again, not going to name names, even though you guys already know, but it's because I want people to focus on the point that I'm going to make. This rumor had to do with PlayStation and PC, okay? The rumor was a claim that through a very good source, PlayStation is pulling back their PC ports. And then in the next 24 to 48 hours, shit got thrown all over the place, where suddenly it was like, no, that was just said haphazardly. It was not meant to be taken seriously. It's not a leak. It's not any of that. And it's like, okay, so, whatever. But naturally, it created a conversation that many people are going to have. And that is that, well, could this be true? Could this rumor, even though the person was saying that actually, no, I didn't mean it like that, and you compare it to how they first worded it, it's like, okay, well, there seems to be a little bit of conflict here. It's either true or it's not. It's either from a good source or it's not. Anyway, that's not really the point. I haven't made the point yet. The point is, when we talked about it on this channel, we talked about it extensively. And by extensively, I mean we covered all aspects of it. I covered what was said initially. I played the clip word for word. I then read the follow-ups and told you what the follow-up was. And then I proceeded to give my own thoughts, my own opinions, while simultaneously expressing to everybody that we don't know. Okay? Take this for what it is. Take it at face value. Don't take my word for it, and don't take their word for it. But I'm just presenting it all to you. There's a reason why I'm setting this up. Then today, I came across another video on YouTube. And in this video, this was talked about. Now, it wasn't talked about extensively. It was briefly mentioned. And in this video, I had to pause it because I was like, wait a second. Wait, they're bringing up this rumor, but they're not explaining what actually happened. Well, no, they did explain, but they did in their own words. And it was something along the lines of, oh, the person who said it, said it was just random casual talk on a podcast and they didn't really mean it or anything like that. I'm like, that's interesting. Huh. What? And it should be noted that this is coming from a place, again, I'm just trying to make a point here. This is coming from a place, and this is the important part. This is coming from a place and a channel that very much, if not postures themselves as being honest and being thorough. If not that, they posture themselves as as a channel that's going to call out every little detail for, I guess we could say, the PlayStation side of things, right? If PlayStation does something, sure, that's, call them out. But more specifically, PlayStation individuals on the internet, they will be all over them like a fly on shit without fail. And I had to soak this in because I'm like, that's funny to me. It's frustrating, but then it becomes funny because it's like it's the literal proof in front of my face. Unfortunately, it's just most people are not, and the reason why I'm not naming names is because the outcome will not be a positive one for anybody. At least that's what I believe. It won't be. And it's because I want people to focus more on the point that I'm trying to make, not the names. The point that I am making here is the one that I've made many times over. And the reason why it's always frustrating and the reason why it needs to be repeated, unfortunately, is because there are not enough people waking up to it. There are not enough people paying attention to it. There are not enough people calling it for what it is. And yes, it does become very tempting for me. And I continue to think, like, there's no way I'm going to have to be the person. Because that's not what I want to fucking spend my time doing here. But really? Like, I'm going to have to be the person? I hope not. I hope it doesn't come down to that. Because it'll probably be a little bit awkward at first. I could probably get good at it, maybe eventually. Maybe I'd be horrible at it. I don't know. But it's definitely out of my comfort zone because it's like, that's not why I want to be here. That's not that interesting. It's interesting in the sense that, yeah, it'll create drama. But the point that I'm trying to get at is that this person actively decided to withhold what I believe to be very critical information to preserve someone's, if not integrity, then to not draw too much negative attention to it. And my problem is not with the person choosing to do that, because that's fine. People do that all the time. My problem is that specific person chooses to do the exact fucking opposite when it comes to many, many other individuals out there, myself included. And that's strange to me. That's strange because then suddenly I'm like, huh, that's interesting. You seem to be doing the exact fucking thing that you claim to have such a problem with, that you go well out of your way to call everybody out on. Usually everybody, except a few select people, it seems. And you know what you do? You just downplay. You just say it ain't nothing, bro. That's funny because no one's really trying to say it's something. In fact, all I'm trying to say is you should let people see the whole picture. You should show them, play the clip. You'll play every other clip. Play the clip of what was said word for fucking word. And then turn to the camera and tell everybody Come on, guys. Are you serious? Huh. You don't do that. You didn't do that. But you know what you will do? You know what they will do? Is they will find something else that's completely out of context, right? And they'll listen. They'll hang on to every fucking word. And they will weaponize every single fucking word. And they'll do so because it lines their fucking pockets. Again, there's many people that know this and don't care. My point is that what I've been telling you guys and what I've been trying to express and try to warn people of for quite some time now, this is where we are. And just out of curiosity, I went to look around to see, like, is anybody going to acknowledge this? Now, granted, I'm not trying to make it a bigger thing than it has to be, even though people are constantly making a big thing out of what I'm saying here for some reason, right? Or my tweets or whatever. I'm not trying to make it a bigger thing than it has to be, but I just thought to myself, this is pretty significant because this created a whole tidal wave over the weekend and over the past 3 or 4 days. And I've seen this individual, among many others, again, make bigger deals out of the equivalent of what is a pile of shit sitting on a sidewalk on the internet. And ring the bell and tell everybody to come the fuck in and check this out. But for some reason with this, there just seems to be a lack of due diligence. And I'm supposed to believe that. Oh, it's just a mistake. I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Because, a lot of accusations have been thrown that way quite frequently. That, again, this can be applied broadly, but the denial. I'm not this, I'm not that. And then your actions say something else entirely. But your whole thing is deflection. Pay closer attention to MBG and what he's saying and doing, because he's actually that. Pay closer attention to this nobody random dude I found on Twitter, because look, he's that. And I just have to wonder, sincerely, how much longer this shit's going to go on for. Because it's in front of everybody's fucking face. And they're just eating it up. They don't give a shit. I went to go check to see, did anybody mention this? Not that I saw. Nope. And you know what that told me? Holy shit, this is so much worse than I thought. People weren't mentioning it, were there some people who purposely were like, yeah, leave that part out. Leave that part out. It's not just that. A lot of people didn't know. A lot of people didn't know. But again, the reason why I started this whole point that I'm trying to make, the reason why I started by saying, when I covered it, I gave you the whole thing. I didn't pick and choose. I didn't cherry pick jack shit. In fact, I even defended this person to a degree, saying, yeah, mistakes happen. I don't know. I don't really buy it, but who knows? I even fucking played devil's advocate. But these people out here are the same ones that will turn to a whole lot of people and say, that guy over there, he's a clown. He's a liar. He's a piece of shit. Don't even worry. And it's just the realization that, man, this is going to continue, isn't it? This is not going anywhere. I don't know why. And again, I don't know how we got here. And I'm not trying to I know it's like, maybe this is overly dramatic. Maybe this is too much. But you know what? Tell that to all the people who, for some reason, like, they're just looking at this and they're saying, this is fine. Capcom, I do agree. This is absolutely the PG version of internet drama. And that's the thing. That's why I'm so fucking hesitant, because I know where this road leads. But it is so fucking hard, dude. It is getting harder. Whoa. It is getting more difficult to just watch it. It's like there's no fucking way this is just gonna be okay, right? Surely I am fucking dragged for some of the dumbest, most asinine. Like, really, this is what you're holding my feet over the fire for. This really, and I just have to. And they say, "Yup, you're damn right, bro. You deserve it." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, I guess." Meanwhile, you get these motherfuckers out here that are 10 times worse. And they're cheered, bro. They're cheered on. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy work. Gord, you're saying random, sorry. But MBG, I joined the bandwagon and made a song for oh God. Doesn't that just segue us, right? I made a song for you. It's my only one though, but it's an actually sick groove. LOL AI. You'll have to talk to Gaming Survivor or Ray or one of my mods or Irfan, somebody that you can somehow get that song to them. Or you could post it under my you could do what Rich Rod does and post it under one of my tweets. Or if you give me your Twitter handle. Oh, Irfan, yeah, I don't know. I forgot that I actually left that lamp on. It looks kind of cool. Yeah, it's not too bad. No, Rich Rod, I ain't playing your song. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I'm pretty frustrated right now. I don't know if I'm gonna play. I don't know. The energy just feels off. Yeah, and I mean, Capcom lawyer, I get that. Like I guess the reason why it's hard for me not to take it somewhat seriously is because it's forcibly pulling me in a direction that like I don't want to go in. And that becomes very frustrating. Where it's like look, man, I don't mind having a little bit of fun, you know? But I genuinely am not interested in the drama. And it becomes very frustrating to me when it's like people are trying to take like I understand back in the day, like when I was like way more aggressive in terms of talking about, the platforms and the consoles and, you know, talking about fanboys and shit. In terms of like, general acknowledgement, I was way more aggressive. And I get that. Like people, that attracts the attention of like, well, now it's going to come back around. I totally get that. And I've accepted that. My whole thing is like, dude, we are years removed from that. And we're so far beyond that. At least I thought we were, because everybody told me that's where we wanted to go. That's where we're supposed to go, right? I'm like, okay. And yet, like every single week, it's like, nope. The people that told you that actually want it the most. They want it the fucking most because they benefit the most from it. They will claim you benefit the most from it, but when you walk away from it and you're doing just fine, usually, right? What then? Oh, you just disappear. You just disappear. But then when they find something, whatever it might be, I mean, goddamn, dude. I'm like, it's bad when I literally get less upset from seeing a clip of me go around where people are convinced I shit myself on stream. You know something's wrong when that to me that's amazing. More of that. We need more of that. What really frustrates me is I'm just out here genuinely trying to like have some kind of meaningful, not meaningful, such a strong term, but something that feels like we can have a relatively mature. I say that, but then there's gonna be that random dude in the chat that's like, "Yo, what like Xbox, effed my wife and tried to kill my dog, bro." And I get it. It's like, okay, that's not really mature, but you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. mm. Robin, bro. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad. I'm glad, man. Oh, anyway. Yeah, there was another crash out for you. I guess I couldn't help myself because it's because look, man, like I don't want, and I don't know when I'm going to stop. I keep saying this one last thing. I will say this though. I don't want, again, to be the one to make a big deal out of it. But I feel as though my hand is sometimes forced. I do feel that way. I feel like I make it clear that it's like, dude, listen, I'm not saying people can't or shouldn't criticize what I'm saying. I actually welcome, dude, I welcome that. I literally welcome that in my chat. Like when I see somebody say something crazy out of pocket, to me, it's like, I'm pretty sure you're trolling, but explain yourself. And then they just disappear. It's like, oh, okay. Like, but when that's done on a high level, like a high level, it's like, I don't get it, man. Like, I really don't. Because it's like, I think I'm just going to start responding to, I don't know if I'm going to do this. And I always was like, oh, I'm all bark and no bite. And it's because it's like, dude, it is dumb internet drama at the end of the day. But it is, the frustration is real. But it's like at some point, really, Luna? It's like at some point, man. Oh, yeah, absolutely. See, that's the thing, Titus. Absolutely. And that's why I'm saying, like, at some point, I think I'm just going to start bringing out. I've tried it before, and it is frustrating. People wonder why. Like, MBG, why do you always stop and give up? It's because, dude, when I go to do it, people aren't paying attention. Like, they're like, whatever, bro, we don't care. And I realize this. It's because I'm too late. That's the problem. I'm too late. So many people have placed themselves in a position of assumption. And granted, a lot of these people probably literally don't know. They have positioned themselves to consume content, whether that be through YouTube videos, live streams, Twitter feeds, whatever it may be. They position themselves to consume content to get an idea of what I do on my channel, what my channel's about, what our content's about, and they will, again, that filter cherry picks, all those filters, they cherry pick, and they only show one thing. They only show through one angle. And the people that they attract the attention of, they're banking on you won't go and actually listen. You won't go and listen to MBG's content. And say, yeah, I'm not going to listen to that guy for 4 hours. It's like, yeah, but you'll sure shit sit there and fucking judge a 2-minute clip, won't you? Won't you? And then posture yourself to be better. If not better, at least better than me. If not generally better than me, right? Because that's the thing, man. Like, I'm starting to realize, like, yeah, I have no choice. It's like, I'm going to have to show people. Whether I like it or the result or not. It's like, here's what was said about me. Here's what I actually said. Here's a clip that some weirdo decided to cherry pick. Here's what they didn't show you. But that's the thing. When I do that, I'm basically showing a lot of people that you were fooled. All that support that you were showing, all that shit that you had to talk, you were wrong. And people don't take to that very kindly. People don't take to that very kindly. And Capcom lawyer, I know what you're doing. I know. But dude, as a content creator, I can assure you it is unbelievably damaging. And I feel like you could ask, like, if you're a really big content creator, maybe not. It depends on what the clip is. Like, if you said like a slur or something, like, yeah, that's going to fuck you up no matter how big you are. But like, for a content creator like me, like, they have been unrelentingly damaging to a degree where it's like, guys, you already beat me into the fucking dirt. Like, are you actually trying to, like, end me here? Because it's starting to feel that way. And it's like, yeah, the idea is that's not our problem, bro. And I'm like, wait, you're not showing the full picture. Why are you not showing the full picture? And I'm just ignored. Just silence. Just silence. And it's because these people have done so much damage, by the way. These people have done so much damage that I could put something out there. I could ask Devil Shooter right now. I could, and he would do it. Absolutely. I could say, bro, I want you to find 4 clips of me saying shit in the last 3 months. I could do it, that go completely against all the shit that has been said in those last 3 or 4 months. And I would put that out there, and it's like people are like, "We don't care, bro." And that's why I'm saying, like, I in a way, like, you're exposing yourself by proving that that's never what this was about. I have the proof. I have the evidence. It's why no one fucking said a goddamn word about my fucking, about my clip from last February. It's why nobody says a word about my clips from November 2023 that I got, again, that did irreparable damage to my reputation. And you know what? I was right. I was not only was I completely chill, at least in one of those clips, but I was right. And if you see what that turned people into, how they just think, "Wow, dude, you're a piece of shit, and we're gonna let you know." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" It's like, "You're a fucking crazed fanboy. You're making everything worse, you piece of shit." I'm like, What did I do?" It's like, "You're fucking pork begging, you son of a bitch. You pathetic loser. Look at you." It's like, what do you mean I'm port begging? I said there's a good chance Doom will come to PlayStation. What do you mean I'm port begging? It's like, look at you crashing out. Crashing out. It's like, yeah, because you're fucking you're accusing me of something that's not true. Look at this guy. Look at him. He's fucking getting upset. He's getting worked up. And it's like, what the I was fucking right, you dumb motherfucker. Like, I was right. You were wrong. And that's why. That's why it has been such a prerogative for them. Don't you see? Hopefully, I just hope that some of you I know some of you see it. It's been such a prerogative where it's like, we got that guy. Well, how was I not Inferno? How? I mean, well, to be fair, like, it's been a long time since I've listened back to myself word for word. No. It's okay. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, Irfan, dude, I'm not saying I'm right as like an ego stroke. It's not like that. It's more of it's defensive. It's defensive because people really, I mean, dude, they fucking try to pummel me into the fucking underground, man. And it's like, bro, look, I know I'm not saying you gotta agree with me. I'm not saying you gotta like what I'm saying, but like for fuck's sake. It's like you see again, I referenced that um I referenced that tweet I put out yesterday, and it's like I can't like, dude, I'm getting people calling me like words I can't say on YouTube right now over that. And I'm like, but I'm the problem? But I'm the problem. Okay. All right. Um don't I will insult myself. Do you think people like Asmongold, Hassan, or XQC care about the context of the majority of clips they react to? No, they only watch what fits whatever narrative they're selling week to week. And I hate that. I mean, I don't know. I can't speak. I don't watch them. I don't know. I'm sure there's some level of truth to that at a high level with everything. And it drives me nuts because it's like, why can't we just be a little bit better? Like, again, I don't expect people to change. Everybody's flawed. I'm flawed. But, I see shit that, from certain angles from, I look at where it's derived from, and I'm like, this is hatred. This is hatred. This is animosity. This is anger, and this is something really distorted and fucked up. And it's being presented in a way that would try to have people to feel it's not as bad as it seems. No, trust me. And it you know say some names. I would maybe. I know, and I know, like that's why I'm saying, like, dude, I don't know. You know what they say? If you can't beat them, just join them, right? Like that's the truest saying of all. If you can't beat them, just join them. And the thing is, I'm not trying to beat anybody. It's not like if you guys like, I've always kind of been a lone wolf, right? It's a weird. I don't mean to use that term, but I don't know how else to describe it. I'm a loner. I've always just kind of, I've always went into this where it's like, I'm not trying to, I maybe I'm just that antisocial. I don't know. I just have always been focused on just want to do my own thing, you know? And one of the things I've never been, something I've never really done, I did it maybe once this year, maybe once last year. And outside of that, I never really did it. And I always strayed away from it because I'm like, this is some asinine juvenile shit. You know, don't get me wrong. Like sometimes, yeah, you know, do we do some asinine juvenile shit? Sure, but it's like it's on a lower level. And I know it's like, well, now I'm posturing myself as above, but it's like, no, dude, I'm not trying to like have internet arguments with people with other people. And I know it's fucking bad, dude. It's bad. I know. Dude. You know, we know it puts it in perspective. I see this from other perspectives. I see this whole shit going on in the fitness industry. I'm trying to be Nintendo in this situation. Dude, I see this whole crazy drama going on in the fitness industry with certain fitness content creators, and it's wild. I mean, dude, it's people are trying to end careers. And I'm like, this is a lot, guys. Like this really, like this is a, and Game Survivor, bro. No, 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 no. And I get so confused at some point because I'm like, dude, we went from reality TV to like now it's just reality. Now it's just this is the reality, and I'm like, this is crazy, bro. I can't take it anymore. I can't take the drama of it all. I can't take it. But apparently I can. Apparently I can because you know there are many days I'm like a duck and it just the water just rolls off. And there are other days where it's like I'm a fucking, I don't know. I'm like a person who dove into the deep end and doesn't know how to swim. It do be like that, you know? Back and forth. Well, see, Inferno, like, I want to know why that is, though. Like, that's crazy. You're saying MBG is not known for gaming, more for drama and crash outs. I can kind of understand the crash outs. The drama, yeah, I mean, like, I don't want to say, like, I'm innocent. Like, that's true. That's, like, the drama and the crash outs. I guess I just wish I was more known for, like, but, like, what did he say, though? It's like, well, here's this one clip of what he said. But it's like, no, like, what did he say overall? Like, what did he say something else besides that? And I guess, listen, the whole reason I got so hung up on this rumor because it's not about PlayStation. It's not about them putting games on PC at this point. It's not about that. It was originally like I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Let's cover this. This is very pertinent to my channel. Now it's about how come people like that. Truly, how come people like that get the benefit of the doubt from people like in higher positions? And it's like, dude, that is some of the most flip-flopping, back-flipping fucking I don't even know what I'm looking at some point. And they get more grace than me? Hey, yo, what? There we go. Perfect image. Sums it up perfectly. Perfect image. He says, that's life, MBG. Yo, perfect image just became wise. You're right. You're right. And I'm not unaware of that. I'm not ignorant to that, you know? You know, I said that first, Capcom Warrior. I said that first. It was me. Mine. That was my scoop first. I don't know. Maybe I should try to get sources. Because it's like, well, everybody is already going to view you as a clown anyway, MBG. So, like, you can only go up from here. Maybe AI music, Irfan. But I feel like, yeah, I could probably only go up from here, right? I could try to seek out some sources. If I get bad sources, it's like, MBG, you were wrong, you dumb idiot. All right, well, nothing's changing then. But if I'm right, and it's like, oh, that was a good source. I don't know. Maybe that's the direction I got to go in. Maybe I got to start. Although I don't know. It's the thing that actually scares me the most about that is like getting sued or some shit. Like the legality of it, where it's like we are dealing with, people's livelihoods and people getting in a fuck ton of trouble potentially. Like, you remember that one dude who leaked GTA 6? Where's he? That guy's gone. That guy's probably dead somewhere. Someone please timestamp MBG's epic rant. Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess I just kind of ranted so much because it's not even so much because I'm out of topics. It's not even because I'm running out of topics, because truthfully, like, we can always riff, but it's just something that I came across that, and I swear I'm going to end it after this. It's just that I come across these things and I feel like confronted with something. It's like, look, man, you have 3 options here. A, do nothing and pretend you didn't even see it. B, oh, that's true. That's true, Capcom. B, if you don't want to do nothing, you can crash out about it on your stream, knowing that it's basically going to be the same equivalent, but you're just going to rant about it. Number 3, you can actually do something about it. You could try to do something about it. And the third option becomes more and more appealing, but there has to be so much thought that goes into it, because it's like, well, if you're going to shoot that shot, sure you're going to hit. And it's like, I'm not sure. And the reason why I'm not sure is because it's not that I know that, like, this is something that I can point out that, like, here's something that's wrong and misrepresented and not, you're not seeing the whole picture. I'll show you the whole picture. That is the epitome of the third option among all of this, where I can choose to show everybody the whole thing. But the problem that, at least that I've identified, is that I'm already on the back foot trying to do that, because it is immediately a defense. Where it's like, well, you're on the defensive, so you're already coming from a less powerful position. And so in order for you to properly defend, you're going up against a lot of people that have already made up their mind, that feel like they've already seen enough. And you're also going up against a lot of people that it doesn't matter what you show them. They're just like, they're going to see that and they're going to be like, gotcha, bitch. And just come in even harder. And so it feels like it becomes like it's like a Chinese finger trap, where it's like, well, I'm being put in this position and I'm looking for a logical way to get out of it. And it feels like the most logical way, which is to show people that actually this isn't true, or, I'm being misrepresented in many cases, or, they're not showing you the full picture. That doing that, it feels like it's either, it's like it won't matter at all. It's like it didn't even do it, or it'll somehow make things worse. And I'm like, well, that's the part that I can't explain. And people, people will kind of take that as like, well, it's because they're right, MBG, they're right. And I'm like, well, what do you mean they're right? It's like, they're right for only showing a certain aspect, And I think, if the more I ponder it, I think it's because, what I realize it might be? Maybe I just had this revelation now. It might be that it's that I'm pitting it's like, I'm not what they say I am. And yeah, a lot of people are just immediately going to respond to that and like, well, that sounds like exactly what somebody who is that thing. That's exactly what they would say. And so, yeah, I guess it would have to. The more I think about it, if I were to, it would have to be done subtly. It would have to be done precisely and subtly, where it's like I'm not trying to sway anybody. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I'm just here to show you. And my only hope is that you'll watch or you'll listen. I guess that's maybe the only real defense I have. Um, and I'll think about it. I'll consider it because it's like maybe it's high time I do something like that where at the very least it'll get some views. I mean I would hope so. And that maybe that's how it'll have to be. MBG even in the Civil War they said it's fire to everything. Yeah. It's like it's like Alfred said some people just want to watch the world burn, right? Yeah. You know what they say? You can't reason with unreasonable people. Maybe I think that's the critical mistake I made. I feel like I'm like the samurai in the beginning of Ghost of Tsushima that rode up to the Mongols, thinking like we're gonna talk this out, guys, and then boom, Sasaisa, Jin's over there like, hey yo, whoa, holy shit, like for real. And that's why Ghost of Tsushima is one of my favorite games ever. In conclusion, anyway, guys, listen, I'm gonna hold off on the AI songs. Gaming Survivor. I was able to play yours in the beginning. I don't know if Rich Rod's still here, but we'll get to that. It's okay. We'll let them pile up. You think audiences see a PlayStation fanboy getting farmed? Nothing more than that. Oh yeah, I also see. That's what's funny to me. And you're saying I also see MBG console word on Christmas that getting used a lot. And dude, it's crazy to me that like that. Yeah, I see that a lot too. People are like, bro, you console word on Christmas. And it's like, okay, I am completely guilty of that. I thought it was just funny, and I think I'll put it to you this way. I gave people a reason. Stuff like that, like that's where it's like, bro, for a lot of people, it doesn't matter what you say after that. And it's like, yeah, maybe that's where I'm like misunderstanding that like people will define you based on that. And that is the crazy nature of the internet where it's like I had no idea. Like I remember that morning I put that out I think before anybody even got up and I'm like whatever, I'm just on Twitter like this sounds pretty funny. And it's just like, oh no, dude, you have enemies and they're going to you just gave them like a weapon that they can use against you for for forever. For as long as you're on the internet. And that's crazy because it's like, man, it is like that. You got to be so careful. But yeah, I feel like stuff like that's like whatever, man. I guess if that's how somebody wants to completely define everything I've done on the internet, then that's fine. I still think that tweet was funny. I don't know if I may have deleted it. I probably did. That tweet was fucking funny though, dude. Come on. I mean, I feel like that's where some of the falsehoods of like, how dare you, MBG? It's like, dude, you're not upset. You just don't like me. You just don't like me. But yeah, I don't know. Oh, dude, I was not prepared for what that tweet was going to bring my way. And if I had known, I would have done. I'm like, this ain't worth it. And that was. You're saying never delete, stand on ground. I know, and but see see what I mean? Do you see what I mean? Like I did the thing where I'm like, guys, you know what? You're right. Maybe that was in poor taste. Like some people are out here being like, yo, there's kids waking up to that shit. I'm like, oh yeah, you know what, man? My bad. Like I'm not. You know what I mean? Like I'm a human. Like I think about things. Maybe I think too much. But that's it. It's like, but then when you when you take, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna retract that. My bad. It's like, like, look at that little bitch. It's like, well, no, guys, that's not why you know what I mean? You guys already know. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you to everybody who dropped support today. If you dropped memberships, we hit 42. I really appreciate that. If you dropped any super chats, direct donations, thank you. I can only do what I do here because you guys make it possible. So thank you so much for the support. Do me a favor as you're heading out from the stream, though, if you haven't already, take a moment and hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it. And also want to give a shout out to Devil Shooter, who does the timestamps for the streams. If you see him in the comments with those timestamps, give him some thanks, show him some love. I know he appreciates it. Devil Shooter, thank you for what you do. And yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. So, guys, please enjoy the rest of your day. We'll save some of those AI songs for another stream. We'll let them kind of add up. Who knows? Maybe we'll do a whole members lounge just going over them or something at some point. Sorry, Rich Rod. Got to go, buddy. All right, guys. Until next time, take care.